Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to the stream. How's this music volume compared to me? I turned it down a little bit. If it's too loud, let me know. If it's too loud, let me know. Hey Nawiz, what's up? And Yummy Cheese Man, how's it going, man? I was so hyped to see Nawiz catch the RLCS host today. That was really cool. See a land? Oh man. Isn't it weird to just say that but not be joking? Is that just me that finds that really weird to think you can actually say see you at LAN again? It's surreal, honestly. Thank you for being a Middle East support. Listen, I felt so happy when I found out that the Middle East and Asia as well were going to be in RLCS next season. I can't remember when I heard this, but it's been so hard not to talk about it. I didn't know most of the stuff that we got revealed today. Most of the stuff that I was on the RLCS stream. For anyone who didn't catch it, I was reacting to all of the announcements. A couple of them I knew about, but most of them I didn't know about. I tried my best to stay in the dark about everything. I did not go on a hunt for information. I kind of like to not bother trying to find out about everything. I never know about roster moves before they happen. I never know the latest gossip before it hits the timeline. So I was waiting like you guys for all this info. But the Middle East one I did know. I did know Middle East and Asia were going to be in RLCS. That was super hard to talk about, or not to talk about, because so many people in the time between me finding out about that and today when it got announced, so many people, I swear, every time that I stream, someone would ask, when do you think ME is going to be in RLCS? Do you think ME is ever going to be in RLCS? Do you think Asia will ever be in RLCS? And so on. And I would always have to give a very generic answer. But luckily for me, I've always given generic answers to that question, because that's always been, the answer has always been the same. It's always been, yeah, probably sometime in the future, when the time is right. That's always been my answer to that question, even before I knew they were being added. So in that sense, it was quite easy not to leak that. I never really have any temptation at all to leak anything, to be honest. I don't know why people leak things. I guess they just want the clout or something. I did see Senzo's tweet, Ahmad's tweet, Khalid's tweet. Saw all of them. It's great to see them excited. So I would, yeah, Senzo, I mean, he seems motivated right now, so that's good. Shall we get into this? Shall we read through this announcement? I don't think we're going to watch this video. Wasn't Cali going to do a face reveal? I can't remember what he actually said, but I'm sure we'll see them at some point. Shall we get into this? Shall we start looking through this doc? RLCS 2021-22 season. That's the first thing that we've got to talk about. What do you guys think about the new branding? I personally love it. I think this is perfect. It's the perfect time to do it right after RLCS Season X. It's a great, like, you know, stopping point of the 1 through 9 into X and now into 2021-22 season. Because now it'll just always be RLCS. It's not going to be a particular number associated with it. So I'm a big fan of this, first of all. I think this is a great idea. Very glad that they did it. What else have we got here? Not going to watch this video. We saw this earlier on today. Sounds more professional. Yeah, and it also makes it kind of timeless. Like, you know, we're good forever now. It'd be pretty ridiculous if you reach like RLCS. I mean, I think especially when it's a yearly event, it just makes sense to call it the year. But if it was more regular, if there was an RLCS every 2 weeks, and calling it by numbers would probably make sense. But anyway, 6 million. That's pretty huge. That's pretty huge. I saw some posts on the Reddit today. It was like all-time esport prize pools. Isn't Rocket League all-time like 14 million? So now this is going to push it over 20 if I'm not mistaken. That's hype. That's really hype. I think it's a really good jump. You know, it's not too much to make the next seasons in the future completely impossible to, you know, live up to this. But it is a, you know, increase on last season. That makes sense with more regions being introduced. So okay, let's continue reading here. So first thing, we talked about this a little bit, is new regions. I mentioned this earlier on the stream, but when I Yeah, I heard about this a while ago. The new regions are going to be added, and like I said earlier in stream, it was very, very hard to, well, actually, I'll be honest, it wasn't hard not to leak this. It's never hard not to leak things. I find it, I don't understand why people leak things. I said this earlier. It's not hard not to leak things, but what was hard was waiting. I was like, can we please just announce this? Because I want everybody to know. So that's actually happening. It's really awesome. I mean, just huge dub right there. They, like, RLCS could have gone live today, announced this, and then gone offline, and everybody would have been happy. But they announced so much more. Kago leaked something? What did Kago leak? Did he leak First Killer or something? Any info on new teams from new regions? Not from, I don't know anything off the top of my head, no. He leaked First to Phase, yeah. Feels bad for Senzo. Well, I mean, Senzo tweeted that he's back, so I mean, that's exciting. That's exciting. So let's see if there's anything worth reading here out loud. I don't think so. This is just if you guys want to read this, you can go to the esports.rocketleague.com website or the news section. Okay, all the leagues are going to be the same format, which does make sense because then it's easier to like follow other ones. When if you're mainly watching NA or Europe, then you can very easily dip into the other leagues and you'll understand what's happening. So it's just the same format all the time. Again, great idea. I love that. So RLCS format. This is probably the biggest topic. It's probably like the most confusing topic, and it's the one that everybody wants to fully understand. But okay, let's just go through it bit by bit and see if we can make sense of it all. So 3 splits again. That's pretty easy. We get that. We get that pretty simply. Teams will qualify. Okay. All teams must play in the open qualifier for the first event of the year. This is savage, but I love it. So every team is going to have to play the open qualifier for the first event of the year. Every team, unless I'm misunderstanding this. This is actually crazy. But I kind of like this. Teams cannot qualify to regional events via their performance at previous regional events, but the first one, which is actually in a month if I'm not mistaken, all teams will have to play the open qualifier. Whew! Oh, thank you, Psionics Ian, for confirming. That's hype. That's really hype. I mean, the streams for that are going to be crazy. The streams for that are going to be insane. Seeing if any teams are going to run into like road bumps on the qualifier. Is the qualifier double elim, Ian? It's probably in here somewhere, but I haven't reached that yet. Or if maybe I've passed it, but I missed it. Yeah, every split has 3 regionals and 1 major, same as last season. It'll always be 16 teams though this time. It won't be like 32 teams, then 24, then 16. I actually like that as well. I like that it's always 16 teams. Again, consistency. Do you think Psionics will let org stream the qualifiers? I don't know, actually. But if I were to guess, I'd say probably yes. I imagine that they would because the org streams and stuff for last year went pretty well. CJ is going to fall in the open quals. No, CJ, don't fail. You must continue. But yeah, the grid will not be returning. This is also important. I think this is a good change as well. The grid was a lot. It was just a lot on top of RLCS for the players, for the fans, and it didn't really add too much to the story. There was 1 or 2 cases where it added something to the story of RLCS and added something to the year, but for the most part, it wasn't adding as much as it would need to be worthwhile. So it makes sense. But team broadcasts are taking place on the first day of every regional event, so that's really cool. We're still going to get the team broadcasts like what we got in the grid, except on day 1 of every regional event. I think they tried this in the spring split for last season, for RLCS Season X. It went really well. So that's, I think, another great idea. Yeah, all the point system will be used to qualify for majors, which will be all used to qualify for the World Championship, just the same as last season. This is all very similar. And the teams will be allowed to make 2 roster moves, maximum 1 per trade window. So this is a bit more flexible than last year. Last year, if you made 1 roster change, that's it. You're done. But now you can make a second one, so it's a bit more flexible. I like this as well. 1 per trade window. So really just, you know, now we're just all thinking, who's going to pick up Daniel? You know, where's Daniel going? Whose spot is at risk? Who's going to sign him up? Okay. Right, let's skip through a little bit here to the World Championship. So, Swiss format. Winter split will be group stage. Spring split will be double elim. We did, yep, same as last year. But with, yeah, for the World Championship, 7 regions now instead of just 4. Yeah, okay, that's just an intro to the World Championship. This is the real difficult part to understand, I think, for most of the people who watched the announcement today and who have been reacting to it online. So bear with me. I think I've got a good grasp of this, and I'll try my best to explain it to you if you will give me a couple of minutes. So, 2-stage World Championship, wildcard week, and then the main event week. So it's 2 weeks, 2 stages, 2 weeks, wildcard, main event. That's your World Championship. 8 teams will auto-qualify to the main event. So that's pretty cool. So the best 8 teams in the world will not have to play in the wildcard stage. They just go straight to the main event. And regions that perform the best at majors are the ones that are rewarded the auto qualification spots. So it's all about the regions that perform best at majors. This is the part that people are getting confused about. But yeah, type 1 in chat if you don't entirely understand this. I feel like some people will not understand how regions are competing for spots, because I can explain this to you guys. So we need Microsoft Paint for this. We need to bring out the big guns. We're gonna get the MS Paint. Hold up. Let me get it. Just give me a second here. We have to pull out the big guns. Where is it? Oh boy, here we go. It's coming. It's going to be very white actually. Hold on, let me, before I show you guys this, color it in a little bit more calm of a color. There you go. How thoughtful is that, by the way? Oof, I almost clicked transition. I almost just blinded everybody, and then I remembered what I was about to do, so I made it all gray instead. I feel like I deserve some props for that, but okay. Let's see if we can explain this on MS Paint. If I could pull this off, I'm going to be pretty proud of myself as well. But okay, so this is Worlds. There's stage number 1. I think I need to make this like a thicker brush. Where's the brush thickness? How do I do this? Yeah, there we go. There, that's nice and thick. Okay, so this is Worlds stage. Oh, that might be too thick actually. Worlds stage 1. We can call this week 1. We're gonna run out of space. Week 1. Oh, it's off screen. Oh yeah, it is. It's off screen. Let me crop that a little bit differently. Actually, you know, I can't be bothered cropping it. Oh, wait, you can undo. Whoa! You can undo on OBS now? Hold on a second. This is actually huge. This is a game changer. When did they add that? When did they add that functionality? You've never been able to do that. That's actually insane. I'm very excited about this. That's going to be very helpful. Anyway, let me just figure out what you guys can actually see. Okay, you guys can see right up till right about here. Just gonna draw a little marker where you guys can see. There you go. You can see this, right? So, okay. Week 1. Okay? Week 1. I'm gonna get rid of this. That's not the right color. I'm just gonna... I'm really not an expert of MS Paint. I really am not the best at this, but we're gonna power on through it anyway. So week 1. Why not use text? Because the text is too easy. We need to do this challenge mode. So week 1, there will be 3... Oh no, why is it going to this size again? Right, this is how many teams from each region will be in week 1 of Worlds. So there's going to be 3 from NA. There's going to be 3 from EU. No matter what. There's going to be 2 from OCE, and 2 from Sam. You can see all this in the doc, but I feel like it's easier to understand if you just bash it all out there. Gibbs is using Excel. Boring. Dead boring. That's why we're not doing this. 3 from ME. It's also MENA, but I think I'm just going to write ME because people know what that is. If I write MENA, everybody's going to be like, what is MENA? It's Middle East, North Africa. How many is this? This is 12. We've also got, I think, 2 from, is it the South Africa, Sub-Saharan Africa is that region. So this is SSA. And then we've got 1 from North Asia and 1 from South Asia, but I'm just going to write 2 from Asia because it's easier to understand. So this is week 1 of the wild card. No matter what, you're going to get these teams. You're going to get that distribution of teams in week 1 of Worlds. Now, when it comes to week 2, I don't know why this is thicker over here. I don't understand this. Oh, it's because it's a brush. Ah, this is a brush, this is a pencil. Okay. Yeah, when it comes to week 2, you're going to get the top 8 teams from, or basically the top 8 from the majors. This is where it gets interesting. This is where it gets interesting. Because for the majors, so I think I might need to pull up an Excel. I really want to do this with a paint because it'll just be funny. But we're going to run out of space because I need to use like this and then 1 more. So as much as I hate having to do this, we might have to use an Excel sheet. It's disappointed. I'm very commit. We're going to run out of space. I've realized that we're going to run out of space. So we're going to probably not be able to do that. But I feel like this is still useful. Commit. Everybody's saying commit. Man, I don't know. Should we commit? We can always do a... Right, we get it right. We can make this work. We can make this work. Explaining RLCS on MS Paint. We just need a little bit more space here. So we're going to do this. We're just going to do this. Okay. Has to be Excel. We're going to do it. We're going to do it on Paint. I'm going to give myself as much space as I can here. How much space can you guys actually see? You guys can still see that, right? Oh no. What have I done? Don't look. I'm beating it. See, that's Worlds there. Whoa! Do you guys see how straight that line is? This is the paint brush. Oh my goodness. For a second I was like, did I get the line tool? Did you can hold shift? I didn't hold shift though. I genuinely didn't hold shift, I can promise you. I'm never gonna do that again. Oh. Get you in Gibbs. Get you in Gibbs. Get you in Discord. Yeah, do you want? I will in a bit. I'm gonna bean this first, Gibbs, and then do you want to chat about it after I bean this paint drawing? Because this is gonna be good. So, are you guys with me so far? Does this make sense? On the left here, we've got Worlds. This is Worlds week 1 and week 2. Type 1 in chat if you understand so far what we have done. If this is making sense. I feel like if anybody doesn't get this, then you're a lost cause. Like, there's just no hope for you if you don't understand this, because this is the easy bit. Worlds. There we go. This is Worlds week 1 is all these teams. Week 2 is top 8 from majors. But okay, this is where it gets interesting. So the top 8 from majors bit is really interesting and also really hype, but a bit confusing. So you're gonna need to bear with me here. So there's 3 majors. Let's look at major number 1. So this is number 1 major, which is the fall major. It's actually going to be a LAN. It's been announced as a LAN in Sweden. So at the majors, there's going to be Actually, do you know what I should do? I should write this as well. So this is majors. All the majors are going to have the same amount of teams at them every time. There's going to be 5 from NA. So 5 NA every time. Then there's going to be 5 from EU. I'm actually very, very happy with how legible this is. I've got to just settle for what we get here. I can't really hope for much better. And then I think there's going to be, is it 2 from SAM and 2 from OCE, if I'm not mistaken? I believe it's 2 from each of those. Not sure if there's a... I'm not sure if there's a list somewhere on the page we were just on that says this. Yeah, I believe it's 2 and 2. And that amounts to 14. And then we've got 1 from Middle East, North Africa. But we're just going to write ME so people know what it is. And then there's 1 from Asia. Okay. That's 16 teams. 5 is 10. 2, 2, 1, 6 is 6. And then 10 and 6 is 16, of course. No SSA. Okay, so SSA over here is the Sub-Saharan Africa. They will not be playing at the majors this year, but they will be playing at the wildcard for Worlds. So they're kind of in their own little region all year, and then they're going to show up with 2 teams to the wildcard no matter what. But they're not going to be playing at majors. So you're going to need to wait for them at Worlds. But all the other regions, we've got NA, we've got EU, OCE, SAM, Middle East, Asia. Those 6 regions are going to be competing against each other at all the majors and then at the wildcard as well. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a disadvantage, but obviously the logistics for including them in the first major was going to be too complicated, so that has not happened. One of the things, just before I continue explaining the major format, one of the things that you have to remember when you're thinking about adding, or when you're thinking about Psyonix adding a new region, they have to establish a tournament organizer, they have to put up all the streaming infrastructure, all of the admins, everything in place, and my guess for what's happened is that's not currently possible in South Africa, or Sub-Saharan Africa, but it will be for the wildcard event, so that's why they have to wait. But this is definitely better than just completely not including them in the first place, so I think it's a good thing, personally. But okay, let's go back to explaining how the majors turn into Worlds qualification. So this is like the major. What I've drawn here is the teams that are going to be at every major. I've tried to do another straight line. It's not quite as good as the other one I did. So what do you guys think is gonna? Who do you think is gonna win the first major? Let's let chat. Let's get a little bit of chat involvement here. Who do you guys think is gonna win the first major? Is it gonna be an NA team, an EU team, a Middle East team, an OCE team, a SAM team? What do you guys think? We'll call this M1. This is Major 1. And since I am biased, since SMAD is obviously the most important event in recent time, let's just say that EU wins the first major. Okay? EU, and we're going to call this team EU1 because they're the best performing EU team. This is the important thing that you have to grasp. The team that wins the major will be called EU1 or NA1 or OCE1, SAM1, Middle East 1, whoever wins, they're going to be number 1. Let's say that a North American team comes second. Can anyone in chat guess what that team is going to be called? Type the number in chat that we're going to put here. Let's see how many people are onto this already. Let's see how many people have figured out what we're doing here. NA1, that's right. And they're called NA1 because they're the best performing NA team. It doesn't matter that an EU team finished ahead of them. They're the best performing NA team, so they're called NA1. We're just going to call them NA1 for the purpose of explanation here. It could be NRG, it could be SSC, it doesn't matter. If an NA team comes second, let's call them NA1. Then maybe an NA team comes third. Let's call them NA. Now, what number will be associated with this team? Type in chat right now. What number is going to go here? Chat, what is it? 2, exactly. This is going to be NA2, and then let's say that the only Middle East team that shows up, just to give the new regions a bit of love, The only Middle East team that shows up also gets in the top 4. That's ME1. Again, they're ME1 because all the teams above them are not Middle East. So they're the best performing Middle East team. They're the only Middle East team in the tournament, so they're always going to be ME1. Now, we're going to continue to do this 4 more times. So let's just rattle a couple more out. Let's throw in another EU team. Again, chat, what number goes with this EU team? I'll give you a couple of seconds to type it. What number do we put next to this EU team? 2, that's correct. So this is EU2. And let's go for, we've got 5, so now we're going to go for number 6. Let's go for another NA team. Let's say that another NA team makes top 6. So we've got 3 NA teams in the top 6. What number is this NA team, chat? You've got a couple of seconds. I feel like you're in an RLCS class right now. Exactly, that's what we're going for here. 3, precisely. So we've got EU1, NA1, NA2, Middle East 1, EU2, NA3, and now just to make this like really interesting, because I want to, actually we'll do that later. Let's just keep it simple for now. Let's go for, let's throw in an OCE team, because I know Yummy Cheeseman's in chat, and he's probably saying he's never going to put in an OCE team. He's never going to do this. They are of course OCE 1, because there's no OCE teams above them. And then one more will be relevant here. The top, we're looking at top 8 here. And let's just say it's another EU team. So EU, and it would be 3, because there's 2 EU teams above them. So that's the top 8 for the first major. 3 EU teams, 3 NA teams, 1 Middle East, 1 OCE. And in this imaginary world that we've made up, no SAM teams, no Asia team made top 8. So if we were going to only use this one major to decide who the top 8 for automatic worlds qualification are, it would be those 8. It would be the number 1 EU team in EU points, it would be the number 1 NA team, number 2 NA team, the top ME team, and so on. Does that make sense to you guys? If we only used this one major, we're actually going to be using all 3 to figure out which regions get the automatic spots, the automatic qualification to week 2. But if we only used this one major, that would be it. It would be these 8. But we're actually going to do all 3 and take the average. So like imagine we're going to rattle through this just to give a visual. So let's say for major number 2 an NA team wins, that would be NA1. Let's say that another NA team is in the final, that would be NA2. And then just to show a ridiculous example, maybe another NA team is here, that would be NA3. And then maybe we only get an EU team at 4th. So that would actually be EU1, because all the teams above them are NA. And now we're going to go NA again. So there's another NA team, NA4. And then we'll throw in, let's go for a SAM team this time. SAM1. And then let's go for another EU team. So EU2. And then we'll slap in an OCE team. No Middle East team this time. OCE 1. So if this happened, the average after the 2 events for NA1 would be like this. It would be NA1 would be, oh, that's a really badly written. So for these 2 events, the average would be like this. NA1 would have an average of 2nd and 1st, that's a 1.5. So they'd be the top team because they've got a 1.5. And NA2 would have a 2.5, and so would EU1. EU1 would also have a 2.5 because EU1 finished 1st and 4th, and NA2 finished 3rd and 2nd. Both of those teams would have an average of 2.5. So they would both be the next teams in the list, in the seeding. Here's NA2. Not the best writing, but we're kind of trying to do this quickly. So they've got 2.5. Oh, the 1.5 is off screen. Okay, hold on. Let me move that over a little bit. Like this. Is that on screen now? Just about. I'll fill this for the people with OCD. Is that it? We got it? Okay. Now let's figure out what would the next team be. So, I realized something I probably shouldn't have done here is put Sam in, because that's just made it really confusing. So we're going to scribble this out, just so we have the same teams every time. This is probably just going to be more confusing than it's worth if I put, like, I'm not saying that Sam's not likely to qualify, I'm just trying to simplify this a little bit to show you guys how it works. We'll replace this with Middle East, just for simplicity. So Middle East 1. Now we've got Middle East in both. Who would be next? Ah, yeah, NA2 might be worth more higher. But we're not going to get into the points right now. We're just doing a basic example to explain to people how this works. But I'm also beating it massively. You guys wanted me to beat it, so I don't know what I'm supposed to do. I think NA3 is the next highest seed. Can anyone confirm? I think NA3 is the next highest seed, followed by Middle East 1 in our example here, because NA3 have a 3rd place and a 6th place, which means that their average is 4.5. And then Middle East has a 4th place and a 6th place, which means that their average is 5th. So they would be next in this example. And then I think next is actually EU3. Oh no, EU2 probably, because EU2 has a 5th and a 7th. There's so many red lines on the screen now that I'm getting like, it's like an optical illusion. I'm like, EU2 is 6. I don't think EU2 comes before Middle East, because EU2 finished right behind Middle East in both, so it's actually just one worse. EU2 5.5, are they? No, they're not. EU2 finished 5th here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's EU2. They finished 7th here. Average of 5 and 7 is 6. Isn't it? Am I making this wrong? I think chat is just completely incapable of doing math, and they're making me confused. So I'm actually going to write in the 9th finishes as well. Can you guys see this? Is this on the screen? The reason I'm doing this is so you guys can see how a team wouldn't qualify for auto qualifications. Let's say that EU3 finished 9th in this tournament and NA4 finished 9th in this one. So in this example, NA4 finished 9th in the first event, and then NA4 finished 5th in the second event. So they'd be an average of 7. So NA4 would actually be next in this example. They would be 7. And then OCE number 1 would be a 7.5, because they finished 7th and 8th. So they're a 7.5. And EU3 would actually be an 8.5. So this is a very possible scenario. Well, it's probably not likely. I wouldn't make a prediction on these exact teams auto qualifying. I'm going to move my face cam over a little bit. I'll just crop myself so you guys can see. Crop it for now. So there you go. Do you guys understand now how the averages of 2 majors could be used to figure out which region has performed better? Type 1 in chat if that makes sense. And these would be the teams. I'm going to circle the teams that would qualify automatically to Worlds. So these teams here would make it in. That would be your 8 automatically qualified teams. NA 1, 2, 3, and 4. EU 1 and 2. Middle East 1. And OCE. I forgot the 1 there, but that's OCE 1. So, since 4 NA teams auto-qualified to Week 2, they're the top 8 from majors that I wrote over here. 4 of them are NA. That means that the next 3 teams from NA get to be in the wildcard. So the 5th, 6th, and 7th best NA teams would be in the wildcard. And for EU, since only 2 EU teams made it into the auto-qualify, these 3 EU teams in the wildcard would actually be the EU seeds 3, 4, and 5. But yeah, you only get an auto bid to Worlds Week 2 if your region is doing well in majors. Just as an example, if NA doesn't make top 8 at any of the majors, if no North American teams make top 8 at any of the majors, NA doesn't get any automatic qualification spots. None. If EU doesn't make any top 8s, if EU teams never make top 8, I know it's probably not going to happen, then EU wouldn't get automatic qualification to the majors. But this is huge also for small regions like Middle East, because if a Middle East team, if the Middle East teams that qualify for the majors. I mean, everybody thinks it's just going to be Sandrock, Sandrock, Sandrock qualifying for majors every time. It might not be. There's a lot of competition in the Middle East. Like, let's say that 3 totally different teams from the Middle East qualify to majors, one after another, and they all finish top 8. Then Middle East will get 3 spots to Worlds instead of the 2 that they have over here, because the Middle East is only guaranteed 2 to the wildcard. To get a 3rd one, they would need their average major finish to be in the top 8 average major finishes. Then they would get an automatic qualifier spot here to week 2, and that would allow the 2nd and 3rd best teams in the Middle East to be in the wild card, which is pretty hype. Same thing for Asia. If Asia are able to crack top 8 consistently, then there will be 3 Asian teams at Worlds instead of 2. So does that make sense to you guys? Just since I know a lot of people were asking, what's the maximum amount of NA teams that can make Worlds? The answer is 8. What's the minimum? 3. And it's really easy to calculate this. So if you want to know what is the maximum amount of teams from a region that can make Worlds, you just add up how many teams from that region are guaranteed spots to the wildcard, and how many teams from that region are going to get spots to majors. You're guaranteed 5 NA teams in every major, 3 NA teams in the wildcard. If all 5 of the NA teams finish on average top 8 every time, and then they get auto-qualified to Worlds, then the next best 3 NA teams will also make it in. That would be 8 North American teams in Worlds. Half of, well, not half, it would be a third of the teams there, so it's 28 teams. 24 teams, sorry, at Worlds. 16 in the wildcard, 8 auto-qualifiers. It says 5 capped by psionics. No, they mean 5 capped for auto-qualifiers. But that's just math, because if there's only 5 NA teams at every major, I mean, you can't get more than 5 in the top 5 average major finishes. So the most you can get for NA is 8. Same for EU. That's the maximum amount of teams that can make it to Worlds. For EU is 8, with the minimum being 3. For OCE, the maximum that you can get would be this number here, 2, plus this number here, 2. So we could have up to 4 OCE teams at Worlds if the OCE teams at the majors can consistently finish top 8. Yummy's such a troll. It's almost impossible for it to be 3 NA teams because there's such a high likelihood with 5 major teams that an NA team will get a free win over another NA team. That's so funny in the context of SMAD. It's so funny. There was a hilarious Reddit comment after SMAD. You know, everybody, I can't remember the exact comment, but somebody wrote something like, you know, NA is, you know, it's really interesting that before SMAD, everybody thought NA was better because they looked so good in NA events, but now we know that they just looked so good because they were playing against garbage NA teams. Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, to continue this, the maximum amount of SAM teams that can make Worlds is 4, because there's 2 auto-qualifiers to the majors. If they both consistently make top 8, and then you get the 2 other wildcards, that would be 4. For Middle East, it's 1 plus 3 is 1 plus 2 is 3. For Asia, it's 1 plus 2 is 3. And for South Africa, for Sub-Saharan Africa, it's 2. So that's the range you're looking at. So North America, I mean, North American teams, North American players, anyone who's watching, you need to get top 3. If you don't get top 3, yeah, then you're not going to get to go to Worlds. It's basically how it's going to go this season. I know it's pretty savage, it's pretty brutal, because NA teams have become used to getting more than 3 teams to Worlds. I think they've never had 3 teams only to Worlds, but as we can see by this format, and looking at recent NA performances in international competition, we're just going to get 3 NA teams at Worlds this year, and then the top 8 auto-qualification spots are obviously going to go to major region teams like Europe, OCE, South America, Middle East. But it's really cool that they're letting the minor regions like NA compete in the wildcard this season. Get Gibbs in here. Shall we get Gibbs in here? Shall we? Is Gibbs still here? Gibbs, are you still here? Forky, how many teams are delaying through qualifiers? What do you mean? To regionals? I'm not sure. You are? Gibbs, we could go in your Discord if you want. Although I don't know, are we ambushable in your Discord? Is it possible? Oh, Gibbs is in his Discord. Can anybody just jump in there? Or is it locked? Somebody might jump in not realizing that we're streaming. I'm not sure, Forky, I'm not sure. Okay, right. Let me just turn off the music and jump into Discord with Gibbs. Hello? Gibbs? Is that you? I think he's muted. I'm just waiting patiently, guys, for... Is Gibbs streaming? I'm not sure if...
Alright, here we go.
Oh, there he is.
There he is.
Chat, can you hear him? You think you can hear him?
Yeah, I have 2 different headsets going on lately. So.
Oh, yeah, audio's the worst. But how did I do?
Yep.
I was gonna I tried to do this. I committed to MS Paint.
I like it. I like because no one understands this, and we know this.
Yeah.
So, like, I even said on my stream, like, so this is a theory craft for me and Johnny Boy.
Yeah.
Of like, we presented this to Psionics, and they're like, all right, we can work with this, like some small tweaks, but that's how we got here. And yeah, like, I like the explain it like I'm 5 thing going on here. It's nice.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty much how you have to do it. But I was saying on the stream earlier that the reason why we were both fans of this, as opposed to what would have happened had RLCS Season X been LANs, is if you're a team at home and you haven't qualified for the LAN, if you don't make top 5 NA or top 5 EU and you're having to watch those teams play from home, then now you're going to want them to do well so that they can get more spots for the region, and then you can benefit. In the past, you'd want them to just lose, because then they're not going to go too far away from you in points. But the region rivalry is never going to be more amplified. Yeah,
like, it's probably more important for the fans too, right? Because like the fans of those teams, like the fans of NRG, always want Space Station to lose. Now you're like, well, no, Space Station, go ahead. Yeah, if you win, sure, you might pass us, but now we got some flexible space here where you're adding a spot to the World Championship for us. So it's like, all right, we might fall down to number 4 in NA, but now we have 7 spots very likely. All right, we have this little net behind us that we don't have to worry about as much. Obviously, they want to pass those teams and make a top 8 run or whatever, but yeah. So that'll be fun.
And the other reason is because, we were talking about this, for Middle East and Asia, in the RLCS X format, if you only have one team from your region going to a LAN, and they have a chance at that LAN to earn more points and pull away from you in the standings, then you don't want to scrim that team. You don't want to help them prepare for the LAN.
Yeah.
You don't want to help them at all. So the Middle East team and the Asia team would have kind of been isolated, potentially. We don't know what would have happened, but they might have just been completely ditched by the regions. And same thing with like OCE and SAM. You know, the third place team, is the third place team going to be practicing with the 2 OCE? Like, let's say Yummy Cheeseman's in chat. If Renegades just come third again, they're not going to scrim against the top 2 teams.
Of course they're coming in third.
They don't want to scrim against these guys, because then they're just going to help these guys get more points by being better, and then maybe they're not going to get top 8 anyway, and they just take up the 2 spots. So, you know, now you want to help those teams do better, which will be really cool. The regions are going to be helping each other.
And plus, like, Spring Major, probably by that time, because there's only so few spots, like, we would have known who is locked up for spots. But now, there's going to be some teams, like, at home, or maybe they barely make the major, where, like, they're playing for their own points, but they're also trying to get their region up, so, like, then it opens one extra slot. Say a team... I don't know, say like a Galaxy Racer is sitting at home and they're like, we're going to do a viewer stream because we need Europe to do incredibly well here to open up one more spot so we get to go to Worlds, and the pop off on those streams is going to be great and stuff like that. So.
Oh man, the viewing parties are going to be crazy. Like the viewing party for that team who just are right now on the cusp. Like let's imagine like the last Worlds auto qualification spot, if it's like EU or NA, and you don't know who it's going to be until the last game of the last major, and whoever wins one more spot for the region and takes it away from the other region, and the 2 teams who are, you know, potentially receiving those spots will be like sitting at home thinking, oh man, please win. Like that's even worse than playing when you're watching and another team is playing for you. I mean, Vert's in chat. Vert, do you want to be that guy? Do you want to be that 6th place team, 7th place team who are like hoping that a BDS or Vitality can beat Energy or whatever in the final of Major number 3 and get you into Worlds wildcard? Like, that's probably going to happen to some team. It's going to be crazy.
It's definitely going to happen to a few teams where they're just sitting at home like, all right, it's like very likely we make it, and then we watch like NA just collapse at Spring Major, and then it's like a G2 at home is like, oh no, just watching their hopes just shatter. Oh,
it's going to be so
It'll
sick.
Be hilarious.
But one question actually that I didn't know the answer to is, in this, when you were averaging out placements, do points come into the equation at all? Is the Spring Major worth more than the others for regions? It is.
So it's not based on placement. It won't be like, oh, NA comes in first and third, they get a 2. It's based on, all right, so NA got 400 points and 350, so you total those up. So it's a lot easier. So then it is weighted, fall is weighted last, then winter, then spring.
And you're less likely to get ties like this, so that'll be nice. Because a tiebreaker would be insane. There's always a chance that you get like a 4-way tie for 6th place.
We got to make sure there's extensive ties for like these 8 spots, because you can't have the teams necessarily play each other because they might not both be at the LAN. Or something like that, I guess. Because it's not necessarily it's the OC1 or whatever. So there's going to have to be extensive ties drawn out, so there can't be a tie, I guess.
There won't be like an actual tiebreaker match. There'll have to
I would assume, I'm not a positive actually, but yeah.
It's one of those things that sometimes you just wait until halfway through the season, you're like trying to calculate, like, is this going to happen? Is this actually going to happen?
No.
No way. But chat, do you have any questions for about this format or about anything else RLCSX related? But on the topic, preferably of not RLCS Season X, RLCS 2021, 2022. I've said RLCS Season X so many times in the past year, it's going to be hard to get that out of my automatic memory. So somebody says, how does that work if NA1 and NA2 both lose at T3? I don't know what you mean by T3.
So he means like if they tie for third, well, they just get those third place points, like whatever points those are. So NA1 and NA2 would both get 200 points.
Oh, I see what they mean. Yeah. So like in this example I did, I mean, I explained this like Gibbs said, I made this super simple to try and explain to all of you guys what exactly is going on. But like Gibbs said, it's not going to be like a second place and a first averages out to 1.5. It's going to be like, finishing second gets you a certain amount of points, finishing third/4th will get you a certain amount of points. But NA2, if they got 400 points here and they get 500 points here, they're on 900. So NA2 would be 900. That's how you'd leaderboard them up.
And one thing I want to point out too is, so it's not based on like, say a FaZe comes in as like the NA5, right? They go into the major as NA5. Like if they win that major, they get points for NA1. They don't get points for NA5 because that wouldn't make a lot of sense if like NA5 was technically better than NA4. Because at the end of the day, when we look at like NA1, like if they were the number 1 seed, you go back to your regional points. Whoever came in first in NA will then get the NA1 slot. So say some weird thing happens where like, say Vitality wins every international major and they're in EU1 slot, they're getting all
it gives you
European regional, and they actually pass Vitality in points. It's very unlikely to happen, but then BDS technically would get the EU1 spot because they have more points than Vitality.
You caught it for a second there, but you said, correct me if I'm wrong, if it's possible Vitality would win all the majors, but come like they'd scrape in to the majors as like the 5th best EU team from regionals, and then somehow another team has more points than them. But like
BDS, like regional wise, like if they win every regional, they could still get that EU1 spot because it's based off those comparison points. But Vitality brings those major points back home to their region, so it's very, very unlikely.
Yeah. The EU1, like Gibbs said, it doesn't mean the team who are in the top of the EU point standings. It means the team who performed the best out of the EU teams at that major. That's the EU1 team for that major. It's all results based. They're week 2 format for Worlds. Vert is asking.
That's in the rule book. Yeah, I think it's double elim groups of 8 into single elim final 2 or 3 days or whatever it is that are best of sets, I believe. I think all of those games are best of sets, but I'm not positive. But it's in the rule book. So that's the one nice thing. There's 53 pages of this rule book. I absolutely love it. Pretty much everything's in there. There's a couple things left out that I know about, but for the most part, you got everything in there. And if it's not in there, then they will let the players know about like how do we seed and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, it'll turn out. I mean, it might be confusing now, even after we've explained it here. Don't worry if you don't understand. It's not really going to affect your enjoyment of it at all.
Yes.
But it will. It will improve your enjoyment as the season goes on. There's going to be way more stories. I mean, basically, as soon as we get to that first international major, that's when it's all going to kick off. Like the regionals are going to be pretty much the same as last season. Up until the first international major happens, then there's going to be so many storylines because of the regional rivalries.
Oh, yeah.
That's when it'll all start to make sense. But don't worry if you don't
But
get it.
But even those regionals are so cutthroat now because
Especially
majors,
the qualifier.
There's only 5 NA teams, right? 2.
Yeah.
It's like so the quarterfinal of every single fall major is so important because if you win that, you pass 4 teams in points.
That's true. Yeah.
So that
very
quarterfinal
true.
round is so important because then you're like, all right, now we're top 4 in points in this one. We have to finish like a 2-1 record. You're probably a top 5 team in NA. So you have to make it through Swiss, obviously, and all that to get to that point. But then you gotta win that one best of 7, which is crazy.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting. I like the 5 personally. I like the way this works. I mean, somebody was asking earlier why is Sub-Saharan Africa not in the majors, and I think it was Vart said it's a big disadvantage, and it is. It's a disadvantage not being able to compete internationally. But I'm sure they would rather take this than not being able to play the entire season.
Right?
Because that's the alternative. There is no, as far as I'm aware, like ready to go. Middle East have got Middle East and Asia have that infrastructure, and they have that availability of TOs and all of what goes on behind the scenes, and it takes a lot, guys. It's not just as simple as let's just add this region to RLCS. Okay, tick the box. Now they're in. A lot of work goes into that, so that's why the work is being done for SSA so that they can have that for Worlds next year, but it's not ready yet, as far as I'm aware, to go for the major.
And sorry about my internet; it's been a little spotty tonight, so I put you in
it's all good.
240p, and actually, I think it makes your stream look better. So I'm actually pretty excited about that.
It probably will. I got to stop looking. I don't know how you guys look at this monitor. I mean, I was getting like some kind of I was getting visuals here. It's starting to become like some kind of
or 360p. Yeah.
There's so many red lines. I'm like getting an optical illusion. Somebody's saying that the caster's going to be on the desk during the regionals. No, there's not going to be a studio, at least not that I know of. If there is, I don't know about it. Maybe I've been fired.
Yeah, there is no studio for regionals. We're doing the online stuff, then we're going to LANs and all that, so that's gonna be fun. So we'll be there for that. So it's gonna be a good time. But again, like majors are now in there. Obviously, we know what's happening. Top 16, but it's only 5 from the major regions.
Yeah,
and 2 from the others, and 1 in a few cases. So it's going to be brutal, and there's only 3 tournaments per split. And then, so one of the things that changed a lot, which I don't know if you got into the other stuff, is like there's more protections though for teams that are doing well in RLCS throughout, because now the qualifier process. Did you talk about qualifier process at all?
No, I didn't talk to that yet, but you definitely should. Yeah, continue because I know what you're going to say. It's very important.
Yeah, so for most of the qualifiers, we'll say Regional 2 and on, top 8 in RLCS points will just be guaranteed to go to that regional. So that is not like RLCS winter points, that's RLCS total points. So if you have a really good fall, you're basically booking your ticket to 3 regionals winter and 3 in spring because you're going to be top 8. 9 through 16 will go to a Swiss, and then there'll be an open qualifier for the other 8 spots that go to that Swiss. Top 8 from that will go back to the regionals. So it's harder to make a new roster and get in because you have to go through that open process, but it's not impossible because if you're good enough, then you've had to qualify anyway. In the past
and it's
formats,
like a stage thing, right? It's not entirely open. It's got
it's kind of like we don't want the Galaxy Racer thing to happen again. Whereas like Spring Regional 2, and they were like top 8, failed to qualify, and then they're just out of World's contention. Like at that point, right? So it's to protect teams a little bit more. So that'll help. And then the first qualifier is a little bit different because there is no rules anymore on like 2/3 roster between seasons where you keep your spots. So how do you let teams back in? Well, we're not. We're not letting anyone in.
Everybody kept their teams. They kept 2/3 thinking, "Ooh, we're gonna get something out of that." Nah.
Yeah. So instead, we will see top 16 teams in some form. They will play in a Swiss. They'll have like an extra life, basically. They'll play in a Swiss. Top 8 will go to the regional. The bottom 8 will go to another Swiss that'll meet up with those open teams again, those 8 teams, and they will play for the other 8 spots. So, sure, like if you're BDS, sure, but you're not guaranteed regional 1, but you have to lose 2 Swisses to not make it. So it's very unlikely.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I like it a lot. I think there's really like it's really cool seeing like just nothing, no complaints. As far as I've seen so far, everybody's just like, wow, yeah, this is just really good. I think Sonic's did a pretty good job. They like thought of everything.
Yeah, they nailed it.
They like they weren't afraid as well this time of just making a ton of changes for the better. So I think RLCSX gave them that confidence though, because they really changed a lot in RLCS Season X, and it all kind of went well and it all landed really well. So now they're very confident of doing more changes because they only grew with the most changes last time. I wanted to shoot a question. I saw Chrome's in chat. Chrome, what are the initial thoughts from yourself and anyone in NA, players, etc. you talked to about the regions fighting for seeds? Are players looking forward to this? Or are they? I mean, Virtuoso's in chat as well. If there's any other pros or coaches, etc. in chat, what are everybody's thoughts on that? Because I know the fans are gonna love it. It's a no-brainer for fans and for casters and everything.
Yeah,
it's gonna be so good. Chrome says him and his team love it.
And that is right there all we need to know, because we know Space Station, if they get a chance, they will complain about a format. About something. So I'm glad we're on Chrome's side, because that is the final check mark of like, all right, we did good.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I didn't think about that, but yeah, no, I think players will probably like it. You know, when we were thinking about this, we weren't thinking, how can we like annoy all the players and give the fans the best experience possible. We're actually thinking like, nah, I think this would be better for players too, because you're not going to have these weird interregional or weird rivalries within regions where it's like, no, we're not going to scrim you because you qualified and we didn't, and we want you to suck so that you don't overtake us in points and all this nonsense. Like in the fixed format before, that's how it would have been a lot of times. Like there was just guaranteed spots. That's it. If you're not one of the, I think top 6 or 7, you're not getting in. So of course that team who's one away from getting in is not going to help the other the team above them by scrimming them. Yeah, none of that anymore though. So, but do you think the rivalries are going to be popping off, Chrome, Vart? Like, are you going to be hyped to see? Are you more hyped for watching EU versus NA now that that there's something on the line? There's potentially something to gain for the players and the teams in your own regions. Because I know I am super hyped to see this.
One thing I'm saying from Chrome is like, I hate double elim, because it's funny because some pros hate Swiss, some pros hate double elim.
Yeah.
Like every pro doesn't like certain formats, and I think that's always fun. Because like obviously it's not going to be great for every single one, but that's also kind of why we have the 3 splits, 3 different formats.
Yeah, a little bit of everything. Yeah.
Home, yeah, for someone somewhere. But yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I have to. I definitely have to get. I'm thinking of making a short video where I just grab a whole bunch of pros, coaches, and personalities and get their initial thoughts on this regional rivalry, because this is for me the most, well, format related, it's the most interesting talking point, is fighting for your region. You're not just fighting for your team and your own success now. Like everybody, there really is a reason to claim regional dominance, because in the past, even if a region looked better, you still only got 4 spots each. EU, NA, you're both getting 4 spots to Worlds. You're both getting 5, or was it always 4? No, it went up to 6.
4, yeah. Oh, 6, I guess, for the
6 for the most recent one, but it was always that. You're always going in on an even footing, even if one team or one region dominates the entire off-season, it dominates the entire season, the other region still gets the same. Now it's gonna make it, well, for the first time, it's not going to be the case.
So one thing I want to point out too is, like, obviously NA and EU have advantages, right? Because they have 5 teams at the major, but that also is a disadvantage, because if one NA team bottoms out of a tournament, then NA5 gets last place points. So it's very, very unlikely that you're going to get all 5 teams from NA or all 5 teams
you say
from
that,
Europe.
but this sounds like me when I was trying to plan this SMAD format, and I was like, it's super unlikely that we ever get something like this happening. We didn't plan for that at all, and then we got the full
it was
top
so much
6.
better that way. Yeah, it was so much better. But it's very
so
unlikely
funny.
because one team is likely to bottom out, but then it's going to be really funny because on the buses home, the rest of that region is going to be like, you sons of... like,
Yeah, they're gonna be like,
get to the bottom of this tournament, man.
God,
You're losing us a spot.
I mean, that's what happened in SMAD as well. Like Rolda's team and teammates and all them were just like, come on, Dazarin, Rizzo, what are your teams are the most useless teams. Why are you feeding them so many points? Because you just ruined its chances.
Yeah.
And that might happen again. Oh, there's gonna be so many memes. It's gonna be great.
Yeah. It's going to be good, though, for sure. And it's really going to make that Spring Major, really pop. Because I do feel like Spring Major, there's a very good chance. It's like, oh, everyone here, they're all going to the World Championship, right? Or it's very likely that happens. So, but now they're playing for, more spots. Or they're playing to just not be in that wild card, which is huge to not have to play in that. So if they can get to a top 8 spot, or something. So that's absolutely huge. So it should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be sick. But that all makes sense to me. Chat, is there anything it doesn't make sense? If if you want to know, type something. But if you're not bothered, don't bother typing.
Yeah, one thing I want to bring up while we're here, the winter group stage thing, which it wasn't explained a lot on the stream, but basically, if you win your group, you go to the upper bracket. So there's only 4 teams in the upper bracket. 2 and 3 go down to the lower bracket. So there's 8 teams down there. So you have to make a really long run at that point. But that also means, if you win your group, you're one match away from them being top 3 guaranteed, which is huge.
Oh, wow.
So if you can win that next one.
So
it's really good there. Plus, there will be tiebreaker matches. We haven't explained those fully in the rules yet, but they are coming. So you cannot walk away and win your group at 2 and 1. It just will not happen because you'll tie, and there will be a tiebreaker match. Now, there's 3-way ties, there's 2-way ties. We'll talk more about that later. But you can't walk away and be like, "Oh, I won on goal differential. I win my group. I'm going to the upper
goal
bracket."
differential is it's a bad. I don't like that tiebreak for Rocket League.
Sure.
And I used to play this during SMAD because we didn't use goal differential. We used goals scored because if you're introducing goal differential as a tiebreaker, you're actually discouraging 0-second goals. Because right now teams are going to be keeping the ball up in 0 seconds in the hope to make an equalizer happen. Because lose by 1 goal, lose by 2 doesn't make a difference. But if goal differential is in the equation, then there's an incentive to drop the ball in 0 seconds, even though you're losing by 1, and that's terrible. You never want that. You want always to have the incentive and the the bonus for teams keeping the ball up, because that's some of the most hype. I mean, obviously some of the most hype moments in Rocket League history.
That they would do that though, because it's so unlikely that it's a 1 goal difference, right? But yes, like I said,
you say that, but also Raz and Cole's team during SMAD somehow managed to tie on away goals scored. They tied on away wins and away goals scored. It doesn't matter how many tiebreakers you make, Gibbs.
Funny.
Teams will tie with them.
I know.
I talked to Gibbs. I messaged Gibbs about SMAD. I was like, yo, what do you reckon about these tiebreakers? Because we want to really ensure that there's no ties here. Thinking that the whole thing is going to be a massive draw fest, because we didn't anticipate NA being as bad as they were. But there was still a tie, even though we introduced away goals. Both those teams across 12 games each on the away server managed to score 41 goals each.
Nice.
I don't know how that's possible. How do you score the same amount of goals in 12 games? That's ridiculous.
But so that's what I want to bring up again is, so to win your group, you're gonna have to win 3 matches, no matter what, and that's either a 3-0 or a 2-1 tiebreak at some point. But also that works the opposite way, where you can't go home at when you're at 1 and 2. So no matter what, you're playing at least a tiebreak match of some sort to see if you go home. So then you can finish 1 and 3. So if you win at least 1 game in your group, you're guaranteed at least 1 additional game, depending on how it all goes. So again, you can't go home by goal differential, and you can't win your group by goal differential. Basically, is the thing. So that'll be one. It's good because then there's less So I don't want to say where a team's I'm going to collude and finish this 3-1 because it'll knock out some other team. That'll never happen, because game differential, sure, that might matter on a few things, but it's not going to matter at the end of the day of do you go home or do you that go to the upper bracket. So
right, yeah.
So it's gonna be really fun, really hype matches for the tiebreaker games. But we'll explain exactly how those work later on down the line.
That's really good, actually. That's good news. Because we've had a certain few times in RLCS history where losing games was beneficial to teams, and
like knock someone else out
really
because of points.
Really ridiculous like ties where, oh no, we now need to lose to guarantee our we need to lose this game in order to guarantee our advancing. And it's just like that's obviously just a format that isn't thought through, and it happens, and you learn from it. But no, I think this time I can't think of anything left out. The top comment on the Reddit thread actually is they improved on nearly every big thing I can think of, and that's the way I would summarize this. Is like everything that the community's talked about, everything that people have been asking for has been addressed, has been done. Literally everything. I mean, I can't think of anything that wasn't answered in some way, and in most cases a big way, and literally no criticism. I've never seen this before. Wow, how is there no criticism on this announcement?
I am shocked.
I'm baffled.
I haven't seen any bubble team players just go dark on Twitter.
They're
like, it's only 16 teams. I'm just gonna call it quits now.
The bubble teams are probably like, they're like, well, we're so lucky. They all have to go through the open qualifier like us, the peasants. Wow. Okay, we're just gonna keep quiet. This is amazing. They even got the bubble teams quiet.
And what's even more crazy is like literally every single day for the entire year is in here. Every single day. Including World Championship dates. They're in here. Now, who knows with venue possibilities? Like, that's the one I could see that could move a week or two, around. But every single date, every qualifier, every single event, every date is in there. So, if you want to plan your year around RLCS, you can do it. Because one that helps me and Johnny, for sure, for casters, of like, how do we plan vacations and stuff like that.
It's so good.
It's it's definitely great. We're all very excited that like literally everything's out there, like outside of where lands will be or venues and stuff like that, which obviously right now is very difficult because of everything going on. So everything's out there. So if you're like, oh, honey, I can't go on a vacation because I know that this is
might be an event,
major weekend and I want to watch it, you can just hint at her, be like, I think I'm gonna be a little sick that weekend or something. There you go.
Exactly. So Realize is here. Realize, welcome. Super hyped for you, my guy. That's honestly so cool that Realize in Japan are getting to be in RLCS, and also Mateus is asking something that you might be able to answer, Gibbs. He's saying, reading the rules, I assumed our top 8 RLCS points are guaranteed a spot at regionals starting from regional 2. Am I right or am I dumb? I think he's right.
Yes. So if you're top 8 in points, it's total points throughout. So if we're at Winter Regional 3, it's your total RLCS points at that time. If you're top 8, you're guaranteed that regional. You don't have to worry about it. And that's total, not winter split points. It's total points always throughout the entire year. So if you are like a BDS and you win Fall Regional 1, you can basically book your ticket for every other regional for the rest of it because you'll probably be top 8 throughout. So.
Yeah, that's is definitely better than the previous one because if a team is just like it's so close, even in the top 6. I think Giants were literally in the top 6 when the last regional finished, but they were just like the other teams were guaranteed so many points from the last major that the Giants were guaranteed eliminated, even though they were currently in the top 6 going into that last major. It's just because they didn't qualify. Sure. It's just unfortunate.
There's not less teams at that major, and they can still. So that could still happen. Obviously, like if they miss the major, because that will still be a thing of like you need total points in spring split to make the major for the top 5. But at the same time, for a team like Vodafone Giants, they could be that last spot out. They're sitting at home rooting for EU now to get them in that one extra spot. So
yeah. And like Yummy was saying earlier, you're going to be rooting for teams to either like I think this is kind of like an OCE SAM thing, especially because OCE and SAM have 2 spots guaranteed for the wild card. So if there's 2 teams going to the major and you're not one of them, you're either rooting for them to finish top 8 or dead last. You don't want them to finish like in the 10th, like 11th kind of range.
Finish 9th. Yeah.
But when it comes down to like there might be a case, Yummy, where come regional 3, the 3rd international major number 3, you even want them to finish top 10 because if OCE have averaged a really good finish, like if OCE top team has averaged like they've come 5th, they're got a bunch of points, maybe got 4th, got a bunch of points, maybe like all they need is 10th or something in the last major to get enough points to get that extra seed for OCE. So it's going to evolve as the season goes on.
Yes, and plus with the spring major, like obviously there's only 3 majors. So sure, you don't want like OCE to finish 9th twice in fall and winter, but at the same time, there's still spring major, which is going to be worth about I don't know, 40% of that total. So there's going to be so many regions that will have a shot to finish top 8 that maybe have averaged 12th, but if they get a top 4 finish here, they can catapult up to the top 8 there. So
even like exactly what you're saying. 12th, if they come dead last, great. You're closer to them in points. But at any more like placements that they're going up, then there's a higher chance that OCE can average a top 8 with their best team. And it could work either way. Either they start off really well, and then they're just trying to hang on to that top 8, or they start off just outside of it. Like, let's say, Yummy, that OCE best team finishes 9th, like literally just outside the top 8 in the first major. Getting into the top 8 in the next major is probably going to put you into the top 8 because the next major is worth more. So, 9th isn't necessarily a bad thing. If you're a team like sitting at home looking at another OCE team getting 9th, that's not necessarily bad because if they come 8th next time, then you're in. So,
and plus,
it's fine.
So when you go back to that winter split, you're going to begin again where it's like you're only fighting between those 3 regionals to finish top 2 to make it to that major.
Yeah, then you can continue what they started.
So you can exactly. So
you can finish the
out.
job. It's like maybe Ground Zero are the best team. Like they're maybe the best team, but they somehow come 3rd in the first 3 regionals. Overall, they're 3rd, and then they're looking at these other OC teams. They're like, oh no, we have to rely on CJ to get us points, and he's just out in 16th. But luckily, the other team has done well. They've come 9th. Now we can make sure to qualify for the winter major and go get a top 8, and that way there's another OCE team in Worlds. Just like that. That's it. Another OCE teams in Worlds, at least at that point in the year. There's still another major to go, but I don't think there's really a bad situation. There's always like a way to look at it. Either the teams that you're competing against have come dead last. If OCE comes 15th, 16th, hey, they didn't get that many points. If they come 9th, 10th, great. OCE's nearly in the top 8, so it's a win-win. There's always a way to make it work.
some small chances.
There's always a world where you can get in. There's always like something to hope for, always something to shoot for. There's so many different like storylines because of this. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah, I'm good. And Virtuoso, like I saw your thing about the awards coming back. I would love that. Like I think that'd be a great thing on like a First Touch podcast before Worlds happens to hype it up.
True.
Of doing like an award show or something that maybe the casters vote on, or coaches or whatever, players even could vote on, like MVP of NA and stuff. Would be great. We'll see.
That style of content's awesome.
We'll talk. Yeah.
Because
I did miss that for sure of having the awards.
Yeah, the kind of discussion content always just creates more discussion, so it's always good to do that. And I've been wanting to do something like this on my channel as soon as well. Get like some of the First Touch boys back on and get them to say some dumb takes that we can.
Oh yeah, I mean, then you just need T-Bates and you're fine. So
just get T-Bates back on.
just get those trunks on, man. I want those shorts.
Oh man, T-Bates has been squatting. He's been squatting. He's been hip thrusting. He is.
Man. I don't need to know. Yeah, I'm good.
I had no idea T-Bates was like this thick. What on earth? He's huge. T-Bates is massive.
Man, I love it though.
Yeah, I only saw him from like the shoulders up on his channel. And he's got the high pitched voice, and you'd never expect him to be squatting like 400 pounds or whatever it is that those legs are doing. That was hilarious. I couldn't believe that they got him in these shorts. Did T-Bates bring those himself? Did they tell him to wear those? Did somebody else buy them for him?
Or did they like buy them? Yeah, for him. Like, no, these look great. Don't worry.
Surely he just forgot to bring shorts, and then they were like, "Oh no, right, we got to go buy him some." And somebody just bought him like the most ridiculous shorts. He didn't choose it himself. Wait, he actually didn't. Where did he confirm that? That he didn't choose it himself. That's hilarious.
Sure, he's saying that now. Yeah. I wonder what he would have said before the stream. Yeah.
That's so funny. But yeah, the First Touch Psyonix Esports collaboration was so awesome. It was really cool to see, Because the Psyonix Esports guys work really hard, like super hard behind the scenes, and they don't get anywhere near enough credit from the community for all the work that they're doing because it's all behind the scenes. So it's really good to get them. I love that they're now on camera claiming some of the praise for the hard work that they've done, because they absolutely deserve that. And First Touch were phenomenal. I think that the balance was absolutely spot on. Seemed like a one take as well. I was saying this to Shogun. I feel like it looked like they just one taked all this. It wasn't scripted. Yeah. It wasn't like rehearsed. It just looked like they just did it all in one go, which is really cool.
Yeah. I'm just glad it's all announced, and they're probably happy too, because it's like, oh, we got to announce CRL last week, and they're like, we know we're going to get a lot of flack for this because we haven't announced RLCS, but it's coming.
Yeah.
And finally. But it was so great because they had like the countdown on Twitter, and I'm not saying they're perfect throughout their history of trying to hype up stuff, but this was the hype that was needed for this announcement stream of like an hour. Like, oh yeah. So I wanted to just go on Twitter and be like, no, guys, don't worry, the hype is real. But I can't, because then it's like, oh, then there's gonna be multiple regions coming or whatever. But man,
you can't say anything.
It was so good.
I was saying in my chat, like, I've never someone who really like. I don't understand people who leak stuff, so it wasn't hard not to leak like anything that I did know, but I really just wanted everybody to know. I was like, I want people to know, but obviously I'm not going to say it because the announcement hasn't happened yet. But I can't wait for that announcement because I know people are going to be so happy. Because I was really happy to see about the other regions, and hearing about this format, which I think is just the best one yet. It's going to be incredible for storylines.
So plus, for those bubble teams too, like technically not in the RLCS, but if you're top 24, you're playing in a Swiss to get into a regional event. So that's a little bit better than like a double elim bracket. You have 3 chances there. And that was something I definitely like. I love Swiss, obviously. So I was like, we need to like expand qualifiers. Like if we're going down to only top 16, like there's got to be some expansion somewhere. And they were already on it. They're like, yeah, we want to do like a Swiss. And I was like, all right, yeah, I love Swiss. So I don't care. But
it's like essentially triple elim. So it's just like an extra. It's an extra the filter to make sure you really got the best teams. Yeah. It's perfect for a qualifier, perfect for like an early in the year event to help figure out who the actual top teams are.
Yeah, for sure. Because that's always the thing, right? With all these roster moves, on paper, they look good sometimes. Like Itachi, when he came in to Vodafone Giants, like, oh, this looks great. And then they failed to make the World Championship at the time. So it's like, you just never know. So it's always good to just have these teams battle it out in any way that we can. So
Yummy's saying only problem is OCE has 11 out of 12 finals as single elimination brackets to find a top 2, and the first region is the same. What do you mean by first region is the same? So
single elim is not true. Wait, is he saying, well, like, so fall split, so I could see the problem there, like if I think I'm getting it right, with like 8 teams, it's like, all right, like everyone has one life on the final day. There's going to be some sporadic results there a bit once you get into top 8. But then winter is double elim, spring is double elim, like a proper 2 chances for like basically every team. Like group stage is obviously a little bit weird, but there still is a double elim there. So it'll be a little bit more of just having those teams battle out. And we get to see best of sets for the finals of the fall split for each regional and for the major, which will be fun.
Yeah, I think it just means like they're in RLCS Season X, it was 11 out of 12 single elim events for them, for OCE. They did their own things a lot of the time. And the next 3 events will be single elim as well. Oh, gotcha, so it's just a lot of single elim. So you just can't wait for split 2, so you can not have single elim. But yeah, that's coming. It's coming.
Yeah, that is the one downside to the Swiss into the bracket stage for sure, because it's like it's so fantastic to go from 16 down to 8, because you definitely get the teams that you want. But from there, it can be sporadic. Those the quarterfinal matches, because like if Virtuoso was still here, he benefited a lot from the quarterfinal matches when they played Top Blokes twice, where they went 3-2 in Swiss. Top Blokes went 3-0, and they beat them both times. So that really helped out Endpoint back then, where they got a lot more points than maybe they were supposed to get. But it is what it is. At some point, you just got to win, no matter the format. But yeah, I do agree it is a little bit volatile there for the top 8.
It should be good by the end of the year, though. It might be like 2 teams might be like ahead of the rest of the first split, but it's only the first split, you know, like the one that gives the least points. So, and you know, there's always a chance that OCE, like there's a real shot that OCE can be competing for one of the auto qualifier spots. I'm a firm believer in Ground Zero and whatever the best team from OCE at every event having a good chance at making a top 8. It's very possible, especially as the season goes on and they get a bit more international experience. So you might see 3 OCE teams in Worlds, maybe 4 in a Dream World. Who knows? Maybe that's the world we're in. Somebody's saying, will there be B streams for majors and Worlds? There's a lot of matchups. I don't think so. The events are just going to be longer, so it's not going to be all crammed into 2 days like you're used to seeing. It's going to be spread over more days for majors and for Worlds.
They're saying 5 days at bare minimum, so we'll see.
Yeah, so it's just going to be one stream, but more days.
Yeah, I don't know about fall because Swiss just inherits way more games. So who knows? Like, I would assume not. But,
will it be Swiss for the major as well? It will, right?
Yeah, so it's the same formats for.
Okay, well maybe I think there would be, but Worlds, I seriously doubt there's going to be.
Oh no, Worlds
stream.
won't. Yeah,
there won't
Worlds
be a B stream for Worlds, unless. Oh wait, maybe there will for wildcard, but definitely not the last part. Definitely not the last part.
Yeah, who knows? I'm not positive there.
Yeah, if there's a B stream, maybe they're looking for a B streamer. Maybe Riz is out there thinking that's something he can jump on, become a B stream. That would be pretty good. Pretty good average viewership.
Virtuoso, points will not change if you make 2 roster moves now. I believe it says you can make 1 roster move per transaction period each time, and you won't be docked.
Yeah, you don't lose. You can change 1 per transfer window.
Yeah,
keep your points.
So technically, the 3 starting in fall could be completely different in spring if you play your sub when you come to spring, right?
Why are you asking?
Moves,
why are you asking? You trying to get a fresh team? You trying to get rid of both teammates one after another?
No, he just wants to know how many teams will Scrub Killer be on.
He's like, how many times can I change team? He's trying to change team twice.
Yeah,
just sneak onto.
No, Scrub is going to be on 5 different teams by the end, and he just wants to follow along his journey. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that.
I love it. Literally every comment is like, "This is everything's fixed. This is amazing." Like literally nothing. Wait, let's sort by controversial.
It's probably like, I do not understand this world's format. That's probably
anything about new fan rewards. So we got a drop rat in the top of controversial. The corporate scripted segments are so bad. Wait, for a second there I thought you meant like our reactions. Did he really think that me, James Bot Turtle, were scripting our reactions? Because we weren't. I think. Oh, so he means like the esports team. What does he mean so bad? I thought it was great. I mean, they didn't edit out, like, so there were some times where somebody would say the wrong word, sometimes where people are umming and ahhing and thinking. It was clearly not like scripted down to the word. They weren't reading off teleprompters, which even if they did, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that, but that was off the dome. You could tell. It was definitely like, it looked like the first take every time. Maybe they had to redo takes because people were laughing or something, but it didn't look like they were like, no, could we redo this? And,
Of course, John would say this. Corey did get the date wrong for the first regional, and I thought that was hilarious. But only John would notice that.
Yeah,
from
nobody's listening when he's saying dates.
Point of view,
like,
which is funny. He was like, yeah, October 14th, I think. And I'm like, I think
yeah.
It's the 15th.
That's what I mean. Like, they definitely like left in a couple of mistakes, and it didn't matter because it doesn't really matter. Like, it was the best way to do this is just make it a very natural and very like honest conversation, and that's what it was. So this comment, I can see why it's being downvoted. In fact, I'm gonna downvote it. Bam, take that.
No.
Love the streamlined format. It looks like they actually did everything that was requested. Only thing I'm slightly disappointed about is prize pool. With the added regions, I mean, it did not really increase that much. What? Would be cool if they made it around 10? Is this guy insane? Only 1.5 mil up? Or what is he thinking? Like, yeah, there's more regions, but man, the prize pool's huge. Like 6 million.
Like, it's no Dota, Johnny, all right?
I like this, though, because a lot of games just artificially inflate it, and like as soon as that dies, it's just gone. There's nothing there, so it's better to like slowly increase it like this.
Also, because they had to increase our salaries by $1 million each, so
that is true. Gibbs did ask for a massive raise, so that probably like took a little bit of the prize money away.
I had to cut into the players today.
Somebody's been downvoted for saying that they're going to the major in Stockholm where there's no fans. But yeah, everybody is like, why are there no fans at the major? It's because they really don't want. My best guess is that they really don't want there to be any chance in the world that major doesn't happen. And one of the best ways to get a major cancelled these days is turn it into a huge event with tons and tons of people. Yeah, pretty good way to get your major cancelled, especially in December. Who knows what's going to happen with COVID.
Because it's been crazy. Like last March, we're like, this will be like 2 months long for COVID. Now we're a year and a half in, and it's still going strong. Like, who knows what'll happen in these next 3 months, so try to make it as small as possible. Right? But.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll need to go look into it. I've not been following the COVID in Sweden, but I think it's better than it is, at least numerically, than in the UK right now. And like right now in the UK, cases are, I think, higher than they've ever been, or close to the highest they've ever been. But the COVID deaths are really low compared to the other peaks for cases. So I'm pretty sure that for us it should be okay. And if UK is fine, you got to think that most of Europe's going to be okay, because we have had by far the most cases in Europe, being a very international place with, I don't want to get political here, but the less said about Boris Johnson, the better. Anyway.
Like, I just have to get comfortable masks, because my masks are fine for, like, wearing them for a little bit, but if I'm on a plane to Sweden, I need to get a comfy mask.
I actually, I can speak to this a little bit. I was on a train I wasn't on one train, but I was on multiple trains. Like, I got 3 trains in a row to go to do the Samsung event in England a couple of weekends in a row. And I think I was wearing a mask for the most part of 8 hours, actually. Mm-hmm. And it really wasn't that bad. Actually, when I got to my final destination, I'd forgotten. I'd gotten so used to it, I didn't even realize I had it on. Walked into the hotel, but it was in England, which has less restrictions than Scotland. So in Scotland, I think I don't even know now, but at the time, I think you needed to have masks indoors for venues like this. England, I walk in and I was like looking around. Oh wait, I'm the only person here wearing a mask. What on earth? It's so weird to see this now after so long of wearing masks indoors. But yeah, I didn't honestly notice. It's really not that bad. I saw people yummy wearing with beards wearing like the beak mask. Maybe the beak mask is something to look into. But yeah, I've done it for a long time. It's fine.
Yeah.
You just gotta like adjust it, just move it a little bit now and then. If it just sits in your face, then it does start to sweat and rub. So
yeah, because my masks are like fine, like they do the job, but it's like I just want a super comfy one if I'm gonna be wearing it for like 10 hours.
Yeah.
Why not?
I mean, I think they let you briefly remove your mask to like drink water or stuff on planes.
Oh yeah.
So.
But I'm just like, hey, like if someone like is like, this one mask I wear, I love it all the time. That's all I'm looking for, because we have normal masks that are fine, and I can wear them for hours. But if I can find something comfier, why not?
100%. Yeah. I think like players should honestly get practicing. Like if you haven't worn a mask for a super long time, and you're going to be an NA player flying to Europe, or you want to be an NA player flying to Europe for the first land back, probably just like wear a mask at home. Get used to it, because you're going to have to do it. I think. I can't imagine that flights will not be masked or mask mandates by December. So you're probably going to need to get used to that.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah, so stick it on. Just get used to it. 'Cause I've had to wear it so much. We had quite strict mask rules in Scotland, so I'm really used to it by now. But initially, like I remember the first few times I had to wear one, I was like, man, this is like, I feel really, really sick the first time I had to get in a taxi with a mask on, because I just wasn't used to it at all. But now it's totally fine. You just have to get used to it. Grind the masks. You gotta get the mask grind.
Like I have no idea what they'll do, like for actually at the event or anything like that. Like I assume they will let the players know like in advance.
Vert saying
like,
surely no masks on stage. I wouldn't count on that, Vert. I would definitely start practicing with your mask on. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not speaking from like info that I know and hasn't been made public yet. But if I were to guess, I assume that Psionics are going to enforce whatever restrictions and whatever rules are put in place by Sweden, by Stockholm, and by the venue. So it'll mostly just be whatever the law is in the area. And if the law is that you need to wear a mask, if that's something that you need to do to get this event to happen, I would prepare for that. Yeah, stick the mask on and grind some free play. Honestly, I'm dead serious. You should probably do that because there's a chance that'll happen. Maybe you don't, and great, you're fine. But
I would assume. A chance. They will let you know by then, and then you have about a month, right? Or at least like 3 weeks. Then you could probably just grind it out then to get used to it.
Yeah.
So that's probably when I would do it. But
yeah. I've seen there's a couple of like StarCraft events in Korea, like StarCraft 2 events. The first time that they were back in studio with players in studio, they had masks on stage. Like the players were playing with masks on. Everybody had masks on. The whole studio, everybody, players, everybody. So I would expect that to be a possibility, and get vaccinated, get used to wearing a mask, just try and acclimatize to that, because there's a chance that that's going to still be in place, especially since it's middle of winter, it's December, so that's when viruses and stuff pop off anyway. But am I vaccinated? Yes, of course. Some people, I mean, I said earlier I don't want to get political, but for me, the only thing that I need to talk about is, if you go to the doctor, anyone goes to the doctor because they feel sick, and then the doctor says, "Yep, just take this, you'll feel better." Then everybody's going to be like, "Oh, thank you, doctor," and then they take whatever the doctor gave them, and they feel better, most likely. But for some reason, when it's reversed, when a doctor says to people before they get sick, "Hey, get the vaccine so you don't get sick," all doctors will say this. People are like, "No, vaccines are a deeply personal decision." Get out of here with your deeply personal decision. I don't care about your feelings. Get vaccinated, you moron. I'm like done with people not being vaccinated and thinking that it's such a deeply personal decision. No, it isn't. It's science. All the doctors want you to get vaccinated. It's not political. I said earlier on that I don't want to talk politics. I'm not talking politics. It's so obvious. You go to the doctor, they tell you what to get to fix your problem. You do it like a sheep because that's their job, and they're smarter than you. Listen to them when they tell you what to do before you got a problem. It's like we were talking about prehab earlier. This is a prehab for a virus.
Plus, the controller input lag actually goes down when you get the vaccine. So there you go for you players out there.
5G.
I don't know why that happens, but no.
Yeah. No, it really is that simple. I have no time for people who think that it's like a choice. It isn't. It is a choice, but if it isn't, if it's turned into every thing that encourages people to do it, I'm all for it. I don't care. Get these idiots to get vaccinated. At this point, that's the only reason we're not out of this pandemic, is all these morons who don't get vaccinated. We'd probably be fine by now if everybody was vaccinated, because I can't remember the exact numbers, but I was reading up on stats, like the percentage of people who are currently in intensive care units because of COVID, the percentage of them that are not vaccinated is staggering. Somebody should look up the official number. I don't have it handy, but I've seen it several times in headlines and in studies. It's just insane.
Just the hospital beds too are just being taken up like crazy.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
I had to go to the hospital this weekend, and we were lucky to get a bed.
Yeah, exactly. It's literally affecting everybody, and it's just because people are not getting vaccinated. Then they get COVID. They're like, "Oh my, wow! Everybody get vaccinated," because now that I've got the virus, I understand. It takes them to actually get the virus before they get it. Is this for UK or everywhere? Luckily, UK doesn't have as many COVID deniers and anti-vaxxers as some other countries, but it definitely could be better. There's definitely a few here and there, and I think there was a very, very small anti-vax protest in my city, Glasgow, but it was 10 people or something, or I don't know, 20 people. We're like, yep, there's the idiots.
So what Johnny is saying is that we're only going to have 3 NA teams at Worlds.
I did say that earlier, but it's nothing to do with COVID. It's just NA's recent performances. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, just get used to it. There's no point complaining. It's how it is. If them's the restrictions, if that's what needs to be done to make a LAN happen, you got to wear a mask on stage. Wear a mask on stage. What do you want to do? Go back home and not play a LAN? No, we're having a LAN. do with the mascot if that's what you got to do.
It's just gonna be great seeing everyone, and also like the players that have just like that are new to the scene too, that haven't had a chance to go on the LAN yet. It's gonna be so much fun to watch them.
Oh yeah,
just to see how they react, and it's actually kind of good for them because they get like the half LAN experience where there's no crowd, so they get to like warm up into it.
That's true. Yeah. They don't get
like
hit
almost,
with the full force. Yeah.
Because fans is where people get nervous. Like I don't think they'll get as nervous just being in a studio. Yeah. It's more when people are watching you, and then that's when I think it really hits home for a lot of players. But like in a studio, they're probably like, sure, it's a different scene, but it's not that bad because it's like there's no one around, so like outside of camera people. But yeah
100%. Yeah, like Yumi said, the new regions get an easier introduction than OC or Sam did. That's true. That's very true.
Yeah, for sure.
It's also looking very good right now for NA. I think that the NA like up and coming teams are extremely competitive. At least they look to be extremely competitive coming into this season with True Neutral joining NA, Xset looking really good. Man. Like that's gonna really shake things up.
There is definitely like a 5 through 10 group that is going to be very interesting.
It was already going to be spicy with top 5 being the target, and there already being 7 good teams in RLCS Season X, maybe 8 on a good day for Sonics. But now there seems to be like first time ever like double-figure good teams for NA. It's going to be crazy. Yeah,
and then it just comes down to because there is those top dogs. I feel like it's still like Energy, Space Station, and Envy, but it's like if one of them drops off, has a couple bad regionals, opens up the door and stuff like that. So, we'll see how it all plays out.
Yeah, 100%. Sorry, what's that?
I was just gonna say with EU, it's like who the hell knows who's gonna make that? It's just a clown fiesta. Like any team on any given day, it seems like in Europe can make a run. So it should be pretty interesting there. We'll see who's consistent. Like last time around, we saw consistent teams, but like even looking at Queso, they went from like 3rd in RLCS points in fall, like at the very beginning. Then they dropped down to like 12th. Then they rose back up to 5. So it's like anything can happen.
100%. Mateus got an interesting question here. Do OCE SAM teams play first round against 3-4 teams from NA, 3rd, 4th? Not NRG or Vitality, so he means like top seeds. Has that been put out? Yeah, I don't know if that's out yet.
I don't think there's. Yeah, I don't think there's any seeds yet for the fall one, because the fall one's the most interesting one, because it's like, how do you seed?
That's the Swiss one, isn't it?
But it is Swiss, but there is still some basis of seeding like inside the Swiss, but it's
like
a little
pools,
more RNG.
Right? Is it like four pools?
Yeah, it's
so
pools
like
of 4.
EU, probably top 2 from EU NA will be pool 1. That'll be the 4 teams from pool 1, top 2 EU, top 2 NA, and then you probably got SAM 1, SAM 2. SAM 1, OCE 1, maybe maybe EU 3, NA 3 in the second pool. So you're probably going to be playing against like NA 4, EU 4, Middle East, or what's the other one? Asia, I guess. And then the bottom seeds will probably be the South. Which
like SAM 2, OCE 2.
SAM 2, OCE 2, NA 5, EU 5 or something. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what they decide to go for. But
my guess, or at least like, so if I was doing it, I would probably base off Season 8 Worlds to start, where you would put OC in the group of 8 because they made top 8. SAM did not, so you give them the 9 through 12 group. But that's what I would do. That's not necessarily what they will do. And then from there, I would probably put like Mina in the 9 through 12 group, just based on history of like that they can kind of compete, and then put like APAC in the bottom group, 13 through 16.
Since it's Swiss, like you said, it's not that savage.
It's not that bad.
It's not that bad. Like it might be. I've pulled up something on stream here. I think this is entirely me guessing here, guys, because as far as I know, this information is not public. Maybe it is. Maybe it's in the big rulebook and I just haven't spotted it.
First seeding is not in there, and I'm not even sure if that is finalized or anything yet, so I don't know.
I bet it'll be this. This is a prediction right here. I think it's going to be this. It's going to be... You think that OCE is going to be in pool 2 and not SAM. I think they're going to put both in. Because if you don't, who else do you put in? Who else do you put in? If you put OCE in there, who else are you putting in there? EU 4 or
whoever
NA
finished
4?
top 8 at Worlds. Yeah, like whoever finished top 8 at Worlds.
EU 4? I can't remember who it was.
I can't remember either. I don't know. I think it was EU 4, probably, but I don't know for sure.
It might have been
NA.
Chat, who did finish top 8 at Season 8? I'm not going to look it up because I want to...
Wasn't that Veloce in the really bad series with Renegades?
But didn't Reciprocity get eliminated before that?
They were tough. That's true. Renegades? Oh, that is true. They were out early. That is true.
They couldn't last. EU, Veloce? But I thought Reciprocity didn't make top 8. OREC did come top 8. They just lost to like PK in the...
Oh, because they were guaranteed top 8, I think. Yeah. Because of their high
yeah. So based on that, it would be EU. But I reckon they're going to do it. Like, this would be my prediction. And then probably because
they're Mina 9. Yeah. Or in that group at least. Yeah.
Oh, I think they might just put them like this.
I'm still on 360p here, so.
Oh, I put like NA3, NA4, and then
well, I guess it makes sense. Yeah.
If they want to be super savage to the other regions, if there really is just no faith at all in the minor regions, it'll be this. If the minor regions look like they're struggling, but it would be that.
So again, like with Swiss, it's not going to be so crucial, and then it'll work its way out. And then for the winter major, it's going to be based on however these teams did in fall, because we have those like new rankings of like NA1 got 300 points, so they'll be seed 1 or whatever that is. So I assume going forward, it would just be based on that. So that's why, again, Swiss is the best, because like sure there is seeding, but it doesn't matter as much. It's not as important, and anyone can still make it out, and then we'll figure it out after that. So
yeah. Because after that round 1, you're going to be playing against, like, if all of the lower seeded teams lose, then you're going to be playing against like an OCE SAM team or one of the worst teams from EU NA, even if you're Asia MENA. So you're going to have a second shot. This is going to be super important. That's going to be interesting to see, though. I'm not sure what they're going to go for with that seeding. Sure. I'm not sure, honestly, the only way that you could plan ahead for something like this is do some kind of like 1 day seeding Swiss. Seeding
but
only
then at
Swiss,
the same
but then
time,
it's just like that's what Swiss is for.
Yeah.
You know, like that's kind of what Swiss is for. So kind of defeats the purpose. Somebody said
scrim results.
Scrim results, or I think we should just run it entirely off SMAD. You know, just do that. Sure. You know, it's like down. full pool 1 EU, chuck EU 5 in pool 2. Let the NA teams fight out for the bottom spots. Somebody says here, will the players be able to make decals? And the top reply is no. I was under the impression that the players would be able to make decals. If there's like a non-sponsored, no org team that makes it into the, like, is it top 8 get decals, I think?
I don't think it's like that. There's no fine print yet on that stuff, to my knowledge.
Why do I think that? Maybe I made that up, but I thought that there was something. I thought I heard something in the announcement today. This is something that I
think he was saying like home and away decals based on something. I don't know, but I would assume player teams probably could, but I don't know for sure.
I swear, because this is a topic. Like I knew about some of this stuff coming into this announcement. This was one of the topics I knew absolutely nothing on. The decals and the esports shop, I know nothing extra about. I learned about it pretty much entirely today. Like I knew there was a revamp, but that was pretty much it. So all of the details is stuff that got streamed today. I was sure that there was something, but maybe I'm making that up. Maybe I just like heard something wrong, because I was listening to the live stream actually.
Sure.
For we had a confidence, like we had a PGM feed, but the audio wasn't working for me, so I was just listening to the live stream. So I was on a 10-second delay. Everybody else was reacting to stuff like, whoa. I'm like, I haven't seen anything yet. I was funny. Just like 5-second delay the whole time. Maybe, no, we didn't help with designs. But yeah, so like if there's an org, I think the org does it, because the org is that's, you know, who the decals branding is going to be about, but maybe the players have input.
Yeah, and again, that's probably an org by org basis. But I think if you don't have an org, I think you can get a decal, but I'm not positive.
Somebody thinks he's talking about fans. We, the players, will be able to make decals. No, I don't think the fans can make decals. But I'm pretty sure, like if like a team that aren't sponsored qualify. I swear I heard Shogun say something about this in the stream today. Maybe I'm mistaken, but I think that there is like something about if a team does well enough, then they unlock decals basically for their team. And if they don't have an org, they can literally just make the decal themselves. I'm sure there's going to be a quality control process. Psionics aren't just going to let an MS Paint decal go into the game, but they're going to have definitely, I think they're, yeah, because that's what Gibbs, James said, we're going to get Randy Riverats. And,
Yes.
yeah, so that's not an org, obviously.
Never allow his face on my car's decal.
Even if he sponsors
There's no
it with an
price.
entire year's
There's no
salary.
price.
It's whole year's
I
salary.
mean, all right, so $1 million. Okay. I don't know. It'd be a high price. But then if you go to like a Shogun, I'm like, $2 Shogun. $2 for you. Because it's going to make it better.
It
you know,
would,
then
yeah.
more people are going to buy it if his face is on it compared to James.
Exactly. But there's a real shot there. I mean, players, if a player org does that, like, you know, no org team, and that's a thing. Now suddenly you've got a way to be a team and support yourselves. If you come up with the best meme decal ever, and you just like take like no org cut, you can actually just support yourself. That could be your salary. If you make the best.
It's so
meme
funny
decal.
because they did say like, oh, sponsor can go on decals and stuff, but it's like that opens up a can of worms because what is a sponsor?
I mean,
and then
I can sponsor a team. I could be like, I want
exactly
to
right.
team. I want my
Like,
logo.
will they allow us to be like, oh, these guys can't find a sponsor, so like, hey, we think it'd be funny if we put Gibbs' face on,
And they're gonna do
like,
it for a
all
$5.
Yeah, exactly, right. And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then Sax is like, oh, why did we do
the
this?
Psionics legal team are gonna have a massive headache, but you know. If it's a good meme, you got to do it. Somebody says Last Worlds was EU. Why are people so salty? I didn't really see anybody salty about them saying the next World's going to be in NA. I mean, that makes sense because wasn't the cancelled Worlds in NA?
Yeah, it was supposed to be Texas or Dallas, right? So
yeah, so the Worlds that got cancelled because of COVID was NA, so it makes sense to go back.
And plus, we're in a pandemic, and they are a North American company. It's a lot harder during a pandemic probably to go venue shopping in Europe during a pandemic, I would assume. So, like, I was even like, oh, we're going to Sweden first. I was surprised. But it's because
that's because the whole production
probably
team's
helped or
there,
whatever.
so they don't have to like, travel with a bunch of stuff. And
so they shopped around, I guess, for it. Yeah. I would assume, but I don't know. I don't know how that all works.
It makes sense to, I think, you know, this is a really good balance, actually, because having EU for the first LAN back, I think is very, it's the highest chance of just working from what I can see, because there's more risk involved, I think, with an NA or maybe not Canada, but America certainly, LAN right now. Because I've not looked into NA travel or USA travel, but I can only imagine that's going to be tricky if you're not American at the moment.
I feel like all travel is tricky.
America,
to be fair,
didn't America go on the no travel list for like some countries recently?
Yeah, Sweden.
I think it did.
It was just Sweden.
So you can't travel to America or from? Is it
no?
From America?
You can't travel to Sweden if you're American right now.
Right now,
or not.
I hope that changes.
Or non-vaccinated, maybe. I'm not positive.
There's always like things that changes for certain people, like tests and vaccines, etc. But long story short, get vaccinated, get used to wearing a mask, and get a passport. Then you're probably in about as good of a spot as you can be. Not much else you can do right now. Just hope for the best. That's the world we live in. Somebody says it was Netherlands. Yeah, I don't think Sweden closed it. Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Sweden.
Did they?
I could have sworn it was Sweden who just closed it recently. Pretty sure. I'm like 95%.
Somebody says the UK's border is closing to USA on October 1st. Really? I didn't know that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, hopefully there's other ways to...
Oh, yeah. There's probably like clauses or like exemptions. Who knows? Yeah, Sweden closed border to all, even if they're fully vaccinated. So,
but is that just like for leisure travel, like holiday vacations? Kind of
I
deal?
would assume. Yeah, I would assume. Who knows?
There's obviously still people from America flying to Sweden, even in a travel
I would
ban.
assume.
There's got to be. I mean, if you're
there's got to be exemptions.
Yeah, if you're going there for like, I can only imagine that there's people who are flying during a travel ban, but not because they're doing it legally, just because there's like different.
Sure.
There's got to be like different rules for different reasons if you're traveling.
Yeah.
EU recently closed off travel to US visitors. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, this is probably, I mean, from traveling in the past, even before COVID, it's always harder to travel to America. There's always more like hoops to jump through. So for a first line back, I think Europe is just inevitably going to be easier to make happen. Especially since there's so many teams coming from all over the world. It's not just Europe and America. It's like, Middle East, South Africa, Asia, South America, Asia, OCE as well. Europe is probably going to be easier, except for OCE. You have to travel to literally the other side of the world. So unlucky OCE once again with the travel. Bit unlucky as usual. But I don't see why people would be salty about Worlds being NA in answer to that question. Yeah, Europe is definitely closer to all the new regions. That's true. So it makes sense. I think that it makes a lot of sense because I didn't know about that. I didn't know about the Sweden LAN when we went live today. That was news to me. But when I heard this, I was like, yep, that probably the best way to do that right now. I don't really know much about it, but my guess would be it's probably the best way to do it. Yeah. Everybody's saying Khaled face reveal. Hey, it's not even a lock that SRG will qualify. Middle East is competitive.
Sure, only one team. Yeah.
Middle East is competitive. That's a scary region.
Yeah, and that's another reason why we it's not just if NRG just gets XYZ points at a major, that should be their seed going into whatever. But for a region like Middle East where it's incredibly competitive, it could be 3 different teams. And then it's well, you can't rank them super low when they maybe all 3 teams will finish, I don't know, a top 4 finish at each major. So it's always good to just do it based on the whole region itself, because for EU and NA, for NA4s and NA5s, I assume those teams are going to rotate out like crazy. Each major is probably going to be different teams, so
yeah,
better to just do it by the spot, not by the team for that stuff.
Who's this Tom_94 community manager? 9 hours ago. When was 9 hours ago? Was this was this right before the stream went live? He's funnily enough, I know the basics of this announcement and some stuff that's not public yet. Okay, Tom. Is anyone else really impressed by how much this guy knows behind the scenes? I would love to be friends with Tom so that I can find out about things that no one else knows.
If you can't tell anyone, if you can't tell anyone, don't say it. It's what's the point? I don't know. Yeah, that's the
Sorry, Tom. I don't know Tom. I don't know who this is. I'm assuming he works with Endpoint though, because he's got an Endpoint logo and a community manager. Tom, why would you say something like this? No one is impressed by this, Tom. This is the worst flex I've ever seen. Yeah, I know the basics. Why do I just assume that this is a pretentious Englishman? Why? Why do I know that Tom is pretentious and from England? Just from the wording of this message. Tom, identify yourself. Who is this? Probably a really nice guy, because Colin Stumpy used to cast for the Endpoint Grid stream, and they loved working with Endpoint. So yeah, I also knew some stuff. Gibbs knew more stuff about this, but why would you say something like this? Nobody cares. Yeah. Whoops. Nobody cares how much you know. Better to just not say anything.
It's gonna be good though. It's gonna be a good season, all in all. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I'm glad everyone is very excited, and that there doesn't seem to be too many complaints. And
I'm not seeing any at all.
Yeah.
Apart from a couple of completely nonsensical ones in this
sure.
thread sorted by controversial. So
yeah, I think. Yeah, again, I kind of was kidding with the bubble teams, but I could see why that they're concerned. Obviously, if that's the case, oh man, that stinks because last season was so open. Now it's a little more restrictive, but there's reasons for that, obviously, and we want to give the great teams a little bit more of a benefit. And if you're a great team, then just win. So there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's this? The only NA greater than EU that matters. See you all at LAN. So he's I guess this guy's saying that the only thing that matters is LANs. The NA copium is still out in full force. Season 8 was the first time that an NA team won a LAN on European soil. Out of all of the LANs before that, there was never an NA team that won a LAN in Europe, as far as I'm aware. And to do it, they had to go to Game 7 overtime. So, they scraped it by the skin of their teeth. And it was obviously scripted because, NRG won. So that was obviously, scripted to the max. But I don't know. I'm kind of worried for NA. I'm going to be honest. After seeing Smad and after hearing about or seeing Garrett's tweet about NA motivation in the off season, kind of worried for NA. Kind of worried that they're going to get smoked. I'm being completely honest with you guys, but we'll see. And 1/3 of the roster is European. True, they won with a European. So no full NA team has ever won on European soil.
Wow.
Never happened.
Wow.
But I will give you the copium. I know probably a lot of North Americans watching right now, and you're probably like, seeking copium after that statement I just made. But I got it for you. I got the copium as well. And the copium is, it is harder to fly west than it is to fly east. The jet lag from flying west hits you a lot harder. So probably all the teams were just jet lagged. That's all you need to say. Like they were probably all jet lagged.
Do you mean the opposite? It's harder to fly east than fly west?
No, I think I always find it's harder to fly west because...
Yeah, but then that would mean EU teams have it harder when they go to NA.
Oh, wait, sorry, did I just get it completely backwards? I did get it backwards. Yeah.
So your copium is backfire.
My copium was reversed. But no, it is harder. What I meant is it's harder to fly east because it's harder to fly east because the time zones really mess you up because you land like at the worst possible time no matter what you do. But when you're flying to the west, it does take longer. So there is that to consider. Eastern flights are quicker because of the Earth rotation, but they are harder. Flights to the east are definitely harder. They're gonna knock you out more. They're gonna make you get very tired at random parts of the day with jet lag. That's all the copium you need.
Yeah, like a lot of times when we would do an EU event like DreamHack, like I'm not going to say names, but some casters would nap in between matches.
Yeah,
it was very tired.
That was not always entirely in EU. There was definitely casters napping in NA as well. And I am not going to name names, but they weren't me or Shogun, so they were American. They were not me and Shogun. Me and Shogun were the European the casters at the DreamHacks in 2019. We did not take a single nap between us, not once.
Nice.
And the reason is because when we arrived in America, well, actually it wasn't America, it was Canada from Montreal, we just didn't go to sleep. All you got to do is stay up late, because if you stay up late, well, I mean, you usually land and you're exhausted because it's at the time that you should be sleeping in your own time zone, but you just got to power through for another 5 hours, or if you're in the West Coast, 8 hours. If you come all the way from Central Europe, 9 hours maybe. You just got to power on through. Don't go to sleep. If you can just make it till it's actually nighttime and then go to sleep, then you're going to wake up at a normal time and you're good. You're set for the day. But what a lot of the other casters do is they do not have the willpower to stay up through that tiredness. The wall of tiredness hits them and they just gladly accept it. And that's fine. If they want to do that, that's totally fine as well. It works. You just go take naps the next day. But I wouldn't recommend it. I would always recommend just powering on through, staying up really late, getting your sleep schedule like on the right time zone in one go.
Or have 2 kids, and then you can just sleep whenever because you're just so tired all the time. It's just you're normal.
Yeah, that's another strategy.
Yeah,
that's another good strategy. You just need to get some kids.
Yeah, exactly. Then you're just tired all the time, and it doesn't matter.
But I can say this, Montreal was a really funny one because I arrived and I was so tired. I arrived at like, I think 6 in the afternoon, which is 11 p.m. Well, 6 in the evening, which is 11 p.m. in the UK. So I was pretty tired because my sleep schedule was actually quite normal going into this LAN. And I had to wake up early for my flights. So I was exhausted and I had to stay up for so long to make it to that nighttime. But then other people were showing up at the hotel. I think like Turtle and Achieves and everybody was arriving. I was like, guys, do you want to go out? So, I'm struggling here. I got to hang out. I can't just sit in my hotel room. I'm struggling. I'm going to pass out. I got to get out of the hotel or I'm going to pass out. And they were like, nah, I think we're just going to go to sleep or something. I think Turtle went to sleep and I think Achieves went to sleep. Can't remember about Wavepunk, but or if he was there at that one. But yeah, they all like fell asleep super early. I was like, that's a mistake. you're gonna wake up really early in the morning. And sure enough, I can't remember who. Somebody woke up at like 4 a.m. because they fell asleep at 8 p.m. Of course. So then they just woke up at 4 a.m. on a work day, like day one of the event, and they were so tired for the whole event. They were so tired because they've been awake since 4 a.m. having to take naps in the green room. It was hilarious. I just never sleep. I mean, I did that a lot during university. I just did a bunch of all-nighters. So I've practiced staying awake through the wall of sleep. Just gotta ignore it. Just drink lots of water. People always ask, what do you drink to stay awake? Is it coffee, energy drinks? Water. Don't drink caffeine. Don't drink sugar. Don't eat sugar. Water. Just water. That's all you need. I don't understand what this comment's saying. Johnny Boy talking for a while. Managed to get my 3rd drop. What?
Just keep talking. You gotta talk long, so then they get more drops. You know?
What is he on about, man? What are these people
I did
on about?
like your caster math when you're like, oh yeah, 32 teams. Oh wait, I'm pretty sure that's wrong. But we're just gonna continue.
Yeah. I was like, wait, let me back that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me redo that.
Actually, know how many there are now because I can't do the math because I'm live and I just have to keep going. And yeah, that was funny.
Okay, Alex, when you get a hit, so the bad news, I like that. Wait, what a Garrett tweet.
That's funny.
Did I miss the Garrett tweet? Somebody saying LMAO Garrett tweet. What did I miss?
Oh no, it was in the video. Garrett talking about like the other lands for other games and stuff.
When did he tweet that?
A while, like so that tweet was a long time ago. They put it in the actual video itself.
Yeah, they overlaid it.
Okay,
I don't remember that tweet though. Was it like was it ages ago? Was it like during
It was probably right after they announced that there was no LAN.
Right.
I bet because that was when all the players.
I'm trying to scroll through Garrett's Twitter right now. It's literally it's all just pictures of him and Chell. I'm like, Garrett, where's your? Oh, he's got a picture. He's got a video. Sis jumping in a pool. Okay.
So Chell or Sis? There you go.
Sis. Everybody's like, yes. I'm gonna go see that. Need to see Sis jumping in a pool. He's also tweeted that he slept in his arm for so long that he woke up in the middle of the night and he thought his arm was paralyzed. I sat up, screamed, and instantly thought, how am I going to play Rocket League? The first thing is my go-to. Is that a thing? I've never had that where your arm is completely numb from just accidentally sleeping on it. Like totally like jelly.
I mean,
never had that.
Yeah. Like I've done that with my legs. For sure. Like I have them in a weird position holding my dog or something. They just completely fall asleep and then I like can't walk. I'm like, oh God. For like a minute or two and then it's fine.
I've never had that. That would definitely be really spooky. You just got a jelly arm. But like what are these?
One time like I had a surgery and they had to do like so it was a surgery below the belt. Not like anywhere down there or whatever, but that's not the part of the story. But they, sorry, that was a weird way to start anyway, they had to do like an anesthesia that was that paralyzed me from the legs down, and it was the weirdest thing ever.
Man.
Like, so you wake up from the procedure. And I was still, like, paralyzed from the legs down. Like, I just couldn't move them. And I was like, this is so interesting. Because this will be the only time that this ever happens. Where it's, like, so weird that I just can't move my legs. It was, like, so weird.
Yeah. I hope that doesn't happen to me. I'm still trying to find the Garrett tweet. The one that they,
Did I lose control of my bladder gummy? I don't think so. Who knows? I could have been in a man diaper. I honestly don't remember, but I don't think so.
Why did Garrett tweet here? Come on, I can't find it. Somebody please tell me what day he did this. He tweets too much. Just selfies and anime and like random NRG stuff. What is going on Garrett's timeline? What is this? Control F Valorant. The problem is like when you Control F on Twitter, for some reason it doesn't look at all the tweets. Like the ones you've scrolled past, sometimes you can't Control F.
Yeah, they're like not loading anymore. It's
Somebody's
like
saying July
weird.
7th.
You could probably search
July.
Valorant Garrett G Twitter.
I think I went past it by accident somehow.
I mean, I'm surprised no one's linked it to you yet.
Oh, I found it. I probably just went past it. Here it is. So
Valorant Garrett G Twitter.
Valorant in Berlin, Dota in Bucharest, COD in LA, Rocket League and server USC 32092138AE. That's pretty funny actually. Oh, so he tweeted this in the off season, right? I didn't see this.
Oh, not was it the offseason?
July. That's got to be off season.
Oh yeah.
June was championships, and then July,
Sure.
August is off season, and now we're in September. It's actually a pretty short time between championships and the announcement.
Yeah.
It's a very good tweet, but yeah, obviously he's just joking. But yeah, it was quite funny because like I think was it Rlcs or someone was talking about how other games had LANs, and then he like mentioned a couple of them, and then the next week one of those LANs was a complete disaster because one of the teams couldn't go. Like a bunch of teams had players who were like stuck in quarantine hotels and they couldn't play. I was like, well, actually looking at LAN, it doesn't seem like that was the most hype, but a lot of other games have different situations. They're like, you know, got tournaments that are just run by tournament organizers that are they have no attachment to the game and the brand at all. They don't really care if, you know, something goes wrong related to COVID, because and I'm not like, you know, referring to anything in particular here, just generally games that aren't being, where the esports not being run by the producer, the maker of the game, there's less risk, there's less you know, liability, so you're more likely to be able to get a LAN approved. Whereas when you're the maker of the game, the owner of the game, and you're running the esport, there's a lot more risks to running a LAN, because if something goes wrong, you're completely liable for that, and it could affect the game negatively. So they don't want that to ever happen. Rocket League and Psyonix don't want that. Epic don't want that. So it's much harder to get a LAN to happen in Rocket League than some of these other games. And yeah, I think some of the other games probably jumped the gun on that. They went too early and just didn't get the absolute best LAN. You got to do it right. You got to really make it a special occasion. Yeah,
but I always say, like, it's very hard to, like, I don't understand when people get so upset of, like, man, it sucks that they care about safety and they're not doing a LAN. You know, it's like, how is that an argument? Like, it just doesn't feel like an argument to me. And I'm like, sure, some other esports have done it, but also, like, a lot of them are different, or a lot of players couldn't attend. Like, you look at Call of Duty, it's like, well, everyone plays from, like, there is no international element to that. They're all in the U.S.
Yeah,
and then
it's much
they just
easier
have
to
like put everyone. It's stuff like that. It's like, okay,
yeah,
but yeah, like, I'm always on the side of obviously like, hey, be as safe as you want. Because when they told us even that they were shocked that none of us were upset, we're like, no, we get it. Like, we want everyone to be safe. I mean, you know, like, it's pretty easy.
That's
so
why
like,
that's why I didn't really have any sympathy, and I think I tweeted out pretty harshly about like the timeline when there was a LAN, or when it was announced there wasn't going to be a LAN. Everybody was crying on Twitter. I was like, grow up, come on, guys, just grow up. Like, I don't have any like sympathy for this, because you should have seen this coming. But you know, it's not that I don't want players to have LANs. I want LANs, and I've always wanted, you know, everybody wants LANs, but I didn't have any sympathy for people throwing shade around and trying to tarnish brands and tarnish people's you know, image just because they're having a tantrum. So a lot of people thought I was being pretty harsh, but when I look back at it, I slept on that, and I was like, yeah, I would have definitely tweeted that again. If I go back in time now after sleeping on it, I would have done it again. So I feel pretty good about that.
But that is Twitter, right? Where it's like, oh, I found something out, I need to immediately tweet it. And it's like, yeah.
Oh, I'm really emotional about this. I'm going to tweet about it.
Sure. Yeah.
So I was not surprised to see the negative response to there being the LAN cancellation, but it doesn't make it okay. Somebody's their direct saying here, yeah, a lot of the LANs, almost every LAN that was happening or had happened, had multiple players and or teams that couldn't attend, which kind of like takes away from the legitness of the LAN. I really hope every team can attend this Sweden LAN. It's going to be really difficult even now to guarantee that it's happening.
Yeah. Subs. Get a good sub just in case something happens.
Yeah,
like,
100%.
It's so important. Pay your subs and get a good sub. Yeah.
Get a sub and have games on with that sub. I mean, especially with subs having such a rich history in Rocket League, when you just like have to bring in a sub for a LAN and then you win so many times.
But that's the thing. Just make sure you pay them something, because to have a good sub, right? Like, why not? And then you never know what's going to happen, and who knows what's going to happen to, like, if two players get knocked out. Like, there'll probably be things in place for it, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting year. Sure, we have LANs, but that doesn't mean it's going to go perfectly. And we will figure it out as it goes, and hopefully, we get the best games possible, and the best team wins at the end. So
yeah, the best team with the best sub. Musty obviously got NRG covered, so they're fine. Other teams really need to be taking notes there. Tom again keeps coming out with the worst comments on this thread. Lack of grid is a disappointment, but he is glad to see the return of streams and away decals. So
we still have grid basically. It's
day ones.
So it's there. It's just on Friday.
I'm so glad the grid is gone, because it didn't add enough to the story for the amount of days and the amount of resources that were going into grid. It didn't give back enough. It gave back a little bit, but a lot of days and a lot of resources were going into grid, and it really didn't give back that much. It was a great experimental thing though, and I'm really glad that it happened, because it gave us the streams from all of the orgs, and it showed us that this kind of, what's it called, the big stream where you've got every stream on the stream. I don't know what it's called in America. It's red something. I don't know. Somebody in chat help me out here. What's that called? The way that the great overtime is what they did, but red zone, that's the one.
Red zone channel, yeah. Okay.
That works in Rocket League, so that's really cool. It was a great experiment, but now we got to make it better, and that's why I think they're doing day one.
That reminds me,
I think it's perfect.
I'm going to start DMing some EU orgs to try and get on some of those days streams possibly.
Yeah.
So we'll see. Because I can't do NAs, because that's when my kids are home, but EUs is during the day.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And also, because I hate NA and EU's better. So we all know this. So come on.
Leth saying, not sure it's been spoken about with limited space. Will coaches or subs be present at the first event? I would be surprised if subs aren't brought along, because you want to.
Yeah, I would.
I think bringing subs along is just more. You're more likely to get teams playing. I mean, if teams aren't bringing subs because they want to limit the amount of people in the venue, then I think you're just going to have more risk, because somebody might have to quarantine or something and not be able to play. Then that team's out. I think subs will be there. Coaches, I don't know. I haven't heard anything about that. But yeah, I could see there being an argument for not bringing coaches to this LAN, just to limit the amount of people that are in the venue. I'm sure that they've thought about this, and I'm sure that they've got approval, and I'm sure that they know how many people are able to be there. I certainly hope coaches can be there, but we'll have to wait and see. Haven't heard anything about that.
Gonna be a lot of up the nose tests coming up. Gotta get your nose ready, but it's all worth it. So it'll be fun.
Is that that's how they do those? I've not done one before. What's it called? The
PCR test. That they go super high up your nose.
Is that PCR?
I guess. I don't know.
What's it? Is that a PCR test, chat? I've not actually done a COVID test before, because I haven't had to. There's not really. I've never had symptoms, and I've never.
I can't remember.
Needed to do one for any particular reason. But a lot of my friends have. They thought it was pretty. I don't know about other countries, but UK, they were like, oh yeah, it was really easy. So.
Yeah, it feels a little weird, I think.
Yeah, PCRs for international travel. I've only traveled in the UK since COVID. I've not actually left the UK since COVID, so I don't know about that.
Yeah, there's a 15-minute test here that is the bottom of your nostril, basically just taking boogers out. But because my kids have had to get that a lot, because they go to daycare, and then if there is a COVID test, or someone, if they get COVID, everyone has to stay home for a week, and you have to get a COVID test before you can go back.
Finally, Tom told me it took a few tries, but he actually got a banger comment. Trust Epic to make Worlds of Fortnite. He did it. He took a few tries. Had a couple of horrendous takes.
Hey, well done.
That's a good comment there. I like that.
Well done.
Why is the submissions guidelines one of the upvoted controversial comments? Why are people downvoting the submissions guidelines? Come on, guys. Why is this controversial? And Tartscan RLCS. Why is this controversial? Are people seriously downvoting a joke and Tartscan RLCS Pog? Really? People are downvoting this? How pessimistic do you have to be to downvote and Tartscan RLCS? That's a great comment. Love that. All right, I'm in Discord for a sec.
Before Australia, I'm happy. All right?
Unfortunate.
I don't want to go where
one.
is.
Happy Danny.
Don't want to go there.
Thanks for all the
So
resubs.
let's go
I'm
to
taking
Antarctica
ages
first
on
for
those.
land,
Sorry about
then
that.
Australia in like 5 years. That's what I want.
Yeah, we could. I really hope that the other regions get lands too. I mean, Middle East is pretty close actually. I would
Like,
love
not joking, but then like it would be awesome if we get like an Australian land or an Asian
Let's get
land
Dubai land. Oh man, let's go to Dubai for Rocket League. Can you guys imagine? That would actually be a pretty good. That would be a great location for Africa, Middle East, obviously Middle East, Europe, Asia, Australia. OCE. The only regions that would not like Dubai are America and South America. And honestly, I think that wouldn't even be too bad. Like that might just be a one flight from East Coast USA, and it's a 2-flighter from West Coast. That might actually be the center. It might be in the middle. Like if you added up the collective travel time for all regions, I think Dubai or Middle East in general could be the center. Dubai is legitimately an awful place, so you don't need to expand on that, my friend. I mean, you didn't really provide any information other than your opinion. But, I mean, Appjack went there recently. He said he had a great time. I definitely want to go there at some point, see what's up. Never been to... Actually, I was about to say I've never been to Middle East. I have. I've been to Beirut. I like Beirut a lot. It was fun.
Yeah, that is a lot further east than I thought it was. But also because I'm American, so I don't know maps very well.
Portugal land, says the Chronic. Hey, Portugal killing the game with the vaccines. Literally, I saw a headline the other day. Everyone, and I mean every single person in the entire country age 65 and over is vaccinated. Portugal have vaccinated everybody. Imagine, they have no anti-vaxxers age 65 and over. They are just the smartest country. Literally, the smartest and most organized country. Everyone. How do we become more like Portugal? Like, honestly, well done, Portugal. That is an incredible achievement. And it shouldn't be an incredible achievement, but it is. Because the other countries are so dumb that is actually incredible. So congrats. Then a Chronic says, bro, Portugal's the worst country. Chronic, just let me let me praise Portugal for just a minute, but please elaborate. Waylander says that Dubai is ridiculously architected like a playground with millions of people starving because the government just don't care. Yeah, there's the whole, who built Dubai kind of side of it. I don't really know too much about it other than inequality is a real thing, and it exists everywhere, but especially in certain places. That's really all there is to say. And inequality sucks. So tax the rich, tax me, tax Gibbs, tax the mega rich especially, which we are not. I will point out, at least.
I mean, speak for yourself, Johnny.
Yeah, unless Gibbs
we talked about our contracts earlier.
Unless Gibbs Sports Bet's been going really well.
I mean, that didn't go pretty well. I don't want this on public record, so yeah. No.
It's really funny. I'm sure my parents wouldn't mind me saying this, but we've always been quite a family who have always believed in the rich need to be taxed more, until I started making a lot of money from content creation and Rocket League, etc. And I told my parents about how much tax I have to pay on the money I'm making, and they're thinking, what? That's so much money. That's ridiculous. How on earth do you have to pay that much? And I was like, that's really funny. It's kind of funny how the human brain works, that you like the idea of taxing the rich until you have to pay a lot of taxes. Then you're like, actually, I don't know if I like this anymore. But I can genuinely say that I wish that everybody who earns more than enough to live comfortably had to pay way more in taxes. I would not feel bad. I pay my taxes. I don't try and look for ways to pay less taxes. I pay my taxes. I'm cool with it. I feel like everybody should be cool with it, because that's the only way you fix inequality. Gibbs right now on tax evasion, just sweating buckets. But
yeah, that $5 million
I was never bothered by it. I mean, everybody's like, "What? Why don't you need to go talk to an accountant and try and get this and that?" The doctor, I'm like, "Nah, bro, I'm just gonna pay my tax. I don't care. I'm not gonna think about it. I do my tax one day every year, and then I don't think about it the other days."
Quarterly payments, man. Fun times. That's what we got to do here. I don't know about you, but we have to pay them every quarter.
What's that?
for the taxes as a freelancer. You know.
Oh, you have to do it every quarter. We do.
Yeah, every quarter.
We have one half-year payment every
okay.
halfway through the year. You have to pay whatever you paid, whatever your tax was for the previous year. You have to pay half of that halfway through the year, and you pay the other half at the start of the year. So actually, halfway through the year, you've paid all your tax for the next year, and then it just gets deducted from your actual tax payment at the start of the next year.
Yeah. Yeah, we just do quarterlies, but then we got states. You know, there's state taxes, federal taxes. It's a pain in the butt.
I don't like the, I don't like that you have to pay tax ahead of time. I'm not sure what the reasoning for that is, other than let's just try and get more money from people who are self-employed faster. But maybe there's a good reason for that I'm not aware of.
Like, it probably keeps down people not knowing how taxes work or something, where like they just don't have the money.
Accidentally overspending, yeah. When they suddenly come into more money and they have to pay more in tax to prepare them in case they accidentally spend all their money and then they can't afford tax the next time. Yeah, I mean, it could just be for that.
They want their money. They just want their money.
I think that's the reason they say that it's because of that, but actually they just want more money. They actually just want more money. All right, take care, Yummy. You're gonna love the live stream. It was an absolute beast of a live stream. I got nothing but good things to say about the Psionics and First Touch collab. Sorry about the pundits, the idiots who were reacting to it in between. That was not so good, but can't do much about that.
Glad I wasn't on that. Whew.
Oh, what's up, CJ?
Bullet.
CJ, are you hyped to be rooting for the top 2 OCE teams to do really well at majors so that OCE can have 3 seeds this time for Worlds?
I wonder. So normally, like, you know, he'll just choke and not make the world championship. And I love you, CJ. But now he's gonna like infect his OC brethren to also choke to not get him the extra spot now too.
Oh no!
So now it's just gonna be a disaster.
No. Oh no! That's so ridiculous.
And CJ has left the chat. If we get 3 seeds, I'm 4th. There you go.
Yeah, it's true. Chat. No, let's take it easy here. There's no point like getting into the nitty gritty here. We're kind of dabbling in some political topics here, but let's not start going at each other's throats. If there's one thing that I know for sure, is so when you get political, you're really not going to change anybody's mind on anything. Everybody goes in with their opinions and they leave with them at the end, regardless of what's been said. So you might as well just keep it to yourself. But I was talking about vaccines earlier and like meant a quick comment or here and there on tax, because I really don't think these things are political. I think it's just common sense. Like you know, that's just something we can all agree on. Like, is anybody really going to be like, no, we shouldn't tax Jeff Bezos? Perfectly fine that he's, you know, dodging a bunch of taxes with offshore bank accounts. Like, come on, that's not politics. It's just common sense. But yeah, you're never going to change anybody's mind on an actual political issue or religious or whatever. The people, whatever their opinion is, especially if you're just talking to them in Twitch chat, their opinion's not going to change. Something's wrong with the internet, I got to tell him. Yeah. That's the mentality. Yeah, Waylander, I've seen a couple of videos like this, or I've seen a couple of articles like this. It's been a while though, so you know, we'd have to watch again. I do think it is funny though. You know, I'm not going to go into any details, but it is, as a European and as somebody from the UK, it is like very interesting watching how the, you know, Americans and how America deals with politics, because it's just so different. It's like a competition, you know. It's like they're the baddies, we're the goodies, and we need to get them. And that's it. Everything it's like a competition, but it's a sport. Yeah, it actually just does seem like a sport. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's gotten way
I don't get it.
Used for sure.
And everything is like, oh, yep. What is our team's stance on this? Yep, that's what I believe. It's like there's no varying. It's just this or that, one or the other, because it's all commercialized. When can UK take back control of the US? I don't think that was better. time period. To be honest, from my understanding, I think it might have been worse. America should overthrow America. Yeah, that worked last time, didn't it? That worked the first time that they did this.
It's been so long since I uploaded a video on YouTube that I can't figure out how to put a thumbnail on it.
Are you gonna make a video at your stream? Today?
So I streamed earlier, and then my internet was like just being terrible. So I decided to come over to yours because then I could just talk on Discord and it's a little easier. I was like, in the middle of explaining stuff, and I think the Worlds format stuff that I talked about went okay without lag. I think I haven't actually watched the video. I'm just gonna put it out and hope for the best. But then after that, it was getting really bad. People were saying, so I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm just gonna go over to Johnny.
I see. Yeah, it makes sense.
Because
you should record it, or so give it a recording off stream. Give it a go. Cause sometimes this kind of thing, you try and record it, you're just like, I can't. This is too much. Forget it. I'm just gonna upload the stream. I think you could put up a pretty good video recording of this, because it'll be YouTube is even dumber in my experience. So if you're explaining it to explain it like they're 5 to Twitch, you're gonna need to redo it. Explain it like they're 3.
Sure.
Explain it like they literally just learned the alphabet.
I'm mostly just throwing it up for the people like the hardcore, and then if they like it, they like it. But I don't care that much to do it again because I don't have enough time anyway. But yeah.
True. But yeah,
that's kiddos, So
that's going pretty good. I'm gonna head off actually because I was gonna get off. Make sure I don't stay up past 4. It's 3:42. So appreciate you coming on and filling in the blanks. And
of course,
good to chat
thanks
to you,
for
man.
having me. Yeah, thanks for having me. We'll talk again soon, October 15th.
Yeah, hopefully sooner than that, I imagine.
Well, sure.
Yeah, we'll publicly talk again that time.
Yeah,
take care, man.
Up. Yep. All right.
Take care. Take it easy. Later. Oh, I love having a chat with Gibbs about formats and stuff, because I think that we're the only two people out of the entire RLCS casting crew who like talking about formats. Everybody else is like, Gibbs and Johnny are talking about formats again, and they should listen to it because it's usually relevant to whatever's happening on the day. We don't just randomly get on and talk about formats for no reason. It's usually this tiebreaker might happen, this format is, we're using this format today, this is what you need to know about it, so on and so on. But we're the only ones who really going into all the details of it. And we did the actual, where's the website announcement? It's just the blog. Yeah, we were thinking about this in great detail. The Worlds wildcard into main event, and tying into the majors for a regional competition. That we really tried to think about everything that we could with this, and I think we came up with a pretty good solution. Honestly, props to Psionics for this whole thing. Crazy impressive. The imagine, when did the RLCS season X announcement come out? Was that around about this time last year? I need to know, actually. I need to check. If you told someone, where's the video for RLCS season X? I'm trying to find. I did the voiceover for that one. It was a very last minute thing. I'm trying to find it. Here it is. It was a bit more than a year ago. It was 1st of July. So, yeah, if you told someone in June 2020 that September 15th RLCS would look like this, they would not believe you. If you told someone that, hey, you just had RLCS Season 9, that 10-team group stage thing, Worlds looks like it's going to be a 12-team thing as well, or 10-team group stage RLCS into 12-team Worlds, maybe 16. I'm not sure what they were planning. If RLCS Season X didn't go ahead, then you told them actually, we're going to have all the regions, $6 million, whole year circuit, regionals into majors into champs, like people would not believe it. And the esports shop's gonna look like this, the broadcast's gonna look like this. The whole thing is just so different from 14 months ago. Or maybe is it 15 months ago? August, June. Yeah, let's say 15 months ago. Massive props to Psyonix for making such a big change in such a short time. That's really, really hard. Really, really hard to do. And they had to take a lot of risks, but I think they chose the right risks to do in the right order. They didn't just take every risk of their LCS Season X. They took a lot of risks there, but the right ones. Now they're taking all the risks for season this season, 2021-22. Yeah. Any last questions? I'm gonna go just a minute or two. So if there's any final questions, now's the time to write them. To understand what they're getting at with the Unreal portion. So like this, what you see here, I think it's in this video actually. If I play this, does it play? It does. So I think if I go to like here, yeah, this, I believe this is an Unreal Engine 5. So like, the graphics that you would have seen before were all just visuals, but this is actually, been made in Unreal Engine 5. So it's just like, they're not rendering graphics anymore. They're not like, touching up graphics on Photoshop and slapping it on the screen. It's actually just, in a video game engine. So that's what that is. That's what the Unreal Engine 5 thing is. And yeah, you can tell the production value is just next level with this. I mean, look when it comes on screen here. This is just next level. It's so much better. I mean, what they had before was pretty good, but now this just makes it look awful. it makes the previous one look terrible, but that just goes to show how good this is. It wasn't because the previous one was bad. What do you think about the next natural progression for RLCS? Different modes? Genuinely, yeah. I mean, if you ask other people, they might say other things, but obviously I'm going to say that the next evolution for RLCS is to incorporate 1s and 2s, turn it into a multidisciplined event with lots of variety. For me, that's the next obvious step, but it makes sense not to do that yet because you're making so many changes with this season. You don't want to add 1s and 2s or any other game modes now. Yeah, 7v7 when exactly? Who do I expect to win the World Championship? I mean, probably just BDS because they dominated, and I think they've got a great playstyle for LAN, and they've got the ice, and all those players look like in great form in SMAD, so I think they're all going to be still the best team. If it was Worlds last year, if Worlds last season was a LAN, I think BDS would have had a bigger struggle because that would have been their first really big LAN. But by the time Worlds comes around this season, they're going to have 3 international majors, like 5-day international majors that they've played in. So they're going to have all the experience they need to show up at Worlds. Hey, Sid the God, thanks for the Prime. I appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. You gonna be too busy with RLCS now for your own events? No, I don't think so. I mean, last season we had Smug during RLCS season. I'm definitely gonna be trying to do something like that again. I don't have anything to announce yet, but just be confident that I will continue to push 1v1 and 2v2 as well, as much as I can, especially now that we've done it. We have got Middle East and RLCS. It's not that I want to claim that this was me, but that was always something that I was trying to help with, putting those guys in front of as many eyes as possible, as often as possible. Now that they're in, that's something that I no longer have to do to get them into RLCS. We're still going to be seeing Middle East players on my channel, but probably not 3v3, because we're going to see plenty 3v3 of them now. There won't be any need for that. But yeah, 1s and 2s will probably be the focus for me now, not so much international show matches like I've been doing recently. 2v2 World Cup when? That's a good question. I'd love to see this. Thank you for supporting the Middle East region. My pleasure. My pleasure. It feels good. Feels good to see them in there. Feels good for North Africa, Asia as well. You know, it's really cool that that they all get to play, because I didn't expect that at all. From my understanding, Asia is actually a lot harder to organize than Middle East, because some people might think Middle East has the biggest, the most complications related to politics and organization, but I think Asia actually has more, because there's just so much diversity and so many different countries and so much complication between those countries and the region. So actually seeing that is really encouraging, and it's really awesome to see. Middle East, I expected it this season. Even before I knew, I was like, it has to be, you know, has to be. They're so good. If you're a lead developer of Rocket League 2, what would I want to see implemented? Team mode. It's the one thing I want to see in the game, team mode. And that's just my opinion. You know, Psyonix have said in the past that they have no plans to add it, I believe. And I'm sure that they've got their own reasons for that, and they've got you know, a lot of expertise making the game into the amazing game that it is. So I have no doubt in their ability to keep growing the game. But yeah, for me, team mode would be the thing that I would want to see the most, because I want to play Rocket League with my friends, not just my friends who are exactly the same rank as me. I want to play competitive Rocket League with my friends of all ranks, because I've got a lot of friends who are much better than me. I've got a lot of friends who are nowhere near as good as me, and I've got a few friends who are my rank. So I'm kind of limited to play with the few friends who are at my rank. If I want to play competitive, team mode would enable me to play with people who are like way better, way worse. And I've played a lot of games with my low-rated friends before, and they're some of the most fun games. I mean, if you have also played games with low-rated friends and had a complete blast doing it, type 1 in chat. Let's see how many people in chat have also done this, you know, whether it's on a Smurf or on your main or whatever. Those games are so fun. Just Smurf. Well, that's the thing. I mean, everybody does Smurf these days. Everybody just Smurfs. You want to play with your friends, everybody just Smurfs. So, you know, I would like to see that stop. There would be no reason to have a Smurf if team mode existed. Nobody would have a Smurf. Everybody would just make a new team with their buddies. So I think it would improve the Smurf problem, because there's definitely a lot of Smurfs out there, and I don't blame people for Smurfing. You know, people just want to play with their friends. They just want to play Rocket League with their friends. How can you hate that? You know, nothing against that. Smurfing casual. People always say just play casual, and I completely don't see how that's a solution at all. Casual for me is not even Rocket League. When there's no competitive aspect to it, it's not even the same game. Like, it needs to be competitive. And if you're a casual main, that's awesome. Keep doing it. If that's what makes you happy, if that's what gives you joy, do that. For me, I get absolutely nothing out of casual. I'm like just bored out in my mind. I'm like, what is going on here? There's nothing. People are just leaving. So they actually stopped that now, though. They made it that you can't leave, so that's nice. But back in the day, whenever I play casual, I'm like, what is this? You know, score one goal, then the other team leaves. Now you're against a bot. It's like, what? Casual's your warm up zone. I don't even go casual to warm up. I'll just go free play for a little bit. Go free play for a couple of minutes, and then I'm straight into the games. I don't really care about warm up too much, but definitely have no time for casual. But yeah, people are saying casuals where you play with your low rank friends, or casuals where you play with your high rank friends. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion. You need to, it's got to be ranked. There's just no point. That's just I'm a competitive player. I like playing competitive. Not that I'm competitive in the sense that I'm a pro. I just like competitive games. I've always liked competitive games ever since I played PC games. Casual is the option for rematches. I don't see how that ties into anything, but you are right. It does have options for rematches. Yeah, team mode for me. That's what I would want to see. Aren't Justin and Squishy casual mains now? I don't know. What are they? I'm not sure. I've never heard this. I've never seen this. I don't know anything about this. You'll have to tell me what that means. Favorite player to watch? It depends what game mode. If I'm watching ones, probably Khaled, because He's just so interesting to watch. I love watching players like Jorias as well, because the mechanics are just a thing of beauty. You know, newer players when they come up, like Oski as well, just insanely mechanical. It's always really fun to watch that. But my favorite matchup and my favorite types of 1v1 games to watch are just the brains going at each other, mind games, fakes and feints, and all the decisions. That's like what I absolutely want to see. So, watching two mechanical players going at it, that's really interesting. But for me, what's more interesting is when you throw a smart player in there, and whether it's a smart player against like a positional player against a mechanical player, or just two positional players against each other. That's really fun. I think the thing I like best though is seeing a really smart player like Khaled playing against a really, really mechanical player like Jorias, which is why they've had such a great series in the past. Super, super exciting. Or like Appjack against Jorias, probably the best 1v1 series, at least in terms of quality, that we've ever seen, is Appjack, Jorias, and Smug. I still think that was peak. Like, I don't think we've seen a one series that reached a higher level of both mechanics and decision making since then. That was Appjack being the intelligent, the positional player, and Jorias being the mechanical player. That clash is always what's most fun to watch. When it comes to threes, though, I think my favorite player to watch is probably. There's a few. Gotta be a few. I love watching Ahmad play threes because he's so creative and so crazy, because he can just take the ball and put it in the other team's net. So Ahmad's always a really, really fun player to watch in threes. But Monkey Moon is also probably up there because he... I just love the way Monkey Moon positions. He manages to play third man, but extremely aggressively. Like, a lot of people don't even know that he's ready to defend in a lot of positions because he's positioned so far up the field. He's just very, very good at knowing where to be. So I think Monkey Moon. But for NA, because I know people are probably wanting an NA player, who's my favorite NA player to watch. I think Arsenal. I think Arsenal's probably my favorite NA player to watch. Because when I watch NRG, no one really stands out. I'm not like thinking of any individual player. They're just like a team that have a system that works very well. So I think they're all extremely good, and I do like watching them play. But I wouldn't pick any one of the players really. If Justin's popping off, then obviously Justin. But for RLCS Season X, I think Garrett would probably be the most fun NRG player to watch most days because he was very consistent. Envy, Mist is definitely a fun player to watch. But I think I don't think anybody would. If I was forced to watch player cam of someone for a whole day, it would probably be Arsenal, because he's got good mechanics, but I love his integration of mind games and ground play in 3v3. Yeah, probably Arsenal. First Skiller, easily the most fun player to watch in all of RL, 100%. He's kind of like what I said earlier. Yeah, it's really fun to watch someone who's super mechanical. First Skiller is insanely mechanical. He's just extremely fast. Very, very good presence on the field. Like, he always makes the other team feel his presence, and he puts pressure on them. But yeah, in terms of slowing the game down and just playing the nitty gritty aspects of the game, like manipulating the pace of the game to his favor, I think that is something that I really like to see in a player. And I think Arsenal. That's why I'd say Arsenal. I'd rather see him. I think Space Station are the most fun team to watch in NA, because they actually change the pace of the game, and they actually play like a varied strategy. So I'd say Space Station is the most fun team to watch, and Arsenal's the most fun player on that team to watch. My second most fun team to watch in NA would probably be G2, actually, because they're just like all out aggression, and eventually it either works or it doesn't. Do you think BDS better than NRG? Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably. Excuse me. Yeah, do I think BDS is better? If so, how? They put more pressure on the other team. They don't just ditch the play to go for boost as much. It's something I noticed a lot towards the end of the RLCSX season, and especially in SMAD. Ball pressure for NA teams is often non-existent. They just leave. They just leave the ball a lot. BDS put a lot more pressure on. Now, some players in NA exert immense ball pressure, but as far as teams, it's more rare to see a team just really putting tons and tons of pressure and forcing mistakes from the opposition. Like NA will go for outplays and they'll wait for mistakes. This is how I would summarize NA playstyle in threes towards RLCS X conclusion compared to EU. NA was all about going for outplays, whether it's solo plays or passing, or waiting for the other team to make a mistake and then trying to punish it. So a lot of waiting around and trying to be the more consistent team, and just zooming around the field, going for back corner boosts when your team's got pressure, But EU was a much more like, let's just force mistakes out of this team. Let's be annoying. Let's get in their face, and let's make this game really hard for them. So a lot of the time, both teams would look like they're playing worse, which is why I think NA got so confident and NA started talking all this trash on Twitter about how much better they were, and then they got smoked in SMAD. And SMAD is pickup teams, but the difference was so noticeable. I would expect full teams to have similar results, and I think anybody denying that is still in the copium, because we can all acknowledge that was a big difference in results there, like a very big difference. It wasn't close. If it was close, then you could say, maybe if NA has the full rosters and EU has full rosters, it'll be the other way around. But it was not even close. Like the styles of play, just EU's play style, which is better. And the only team that was really, well, I guess Athena's team was also pretty good. But my team threw against Athena's team. Then Monkey Moon disconnected. So, a few players disconnected though. But I think the only reason that Rlcs team was able to hang, and I think Rlcs team on merit, if we did a full round robin, Rlcs team probably would have made top 6. First killer, like I said. First killer, ball pressure. Yeah, very, 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 very impressive. He's the best player in North America. And Memory and Illusion played very well too. So I think that was the best team by far. And the T-Bait's team did pretty well because they never gave up. They were like really cool to watch because they were the sub squad who just kept on trying. I was very impressed by their fight and their willpower. But I think if you did a full round robin, you'd probably still see a majority EU top 6. I think Rlcs team, maybe Athena's team sneak in there, maybe. But probably Athena's team as well, but it snuck in. Actually, who knows? Maybe T-Base can sneak in as well, make it 3-3. But the EU versus NA thing, I'd love to hear. I actually want to make a video. What do you guys think about this? I'm thinking about recording a video where I interview basically as many top tier pros, coaches, and personalities that I can, and just do quick fire questions like, okay, what do you think about EU versus NA play style wise? Watching NA, I'll ask all the NA players and coaches, etc. What do you think about EU right now from looking at them in RLCS Season X, and maybe if they played in SMAD, what do you think about them now you've played against them? What's your thoughts? And then EU players, same thing about NA, and then ask about the new region rivalry. Who's going to win? What are your predictions for RLCS season 2021-22? And more questions like this. What do you guys think? Do we need to see this? Because I want to know this, especially now that this has been announced and the regional rivalry is like really a big focus. I think it'll be quite interesting. NA will have more international competition. They can adapt. So you're saying that NA needs to adapt. Is that an acknowledgement that the NA method of play is suboptimal? Is that what you're saying? They need to adapt to the superior EU style. I don't necessarily think one style is better than the other. You know, first land back could go either way, but if I had to make a prediction, I would I would predict probably BDS to win. By the way, Swift Clutch, thanks for the kind words. I forgot to say thank you about this, so I was in the train of thought, but I saw earlier on your long message and I meant to say thank you for this. NA has clearly proven better in every major tournament. What major tournaments are you referring to? I'm not aware of any major. I'm not aware of any streak of major tournaments where NA has proven to be better, actually. So you'll need to enlighten me on that. You find NA playstyle dynamic? In what way? Oh, you're kidding? Okay. I'm genuinely asking though, like all these questions. I'm actually curious to hear your guys' opinions. I do want to know. I'm not trying to mock anybody here, but yeah, I want to see what people are saying. NA just doesn't try new playstyles. I don't think that's it. I don't think it's that they don't try new playstyles. I think that the reason NA a lot of the time became everybody just focusing on, you know, focusing on what they're doing and not really trying to mess up the other team so much is because that's what NRG were doing and they're the best team in the region. So whatever the best team in the region is doing, everybody just kind of looks at what they're doing. Like if a team's slapping you around, you probably just look at what they're doing and try and do that because, I mean, obviously it's working for them. So everybody in NA just started doing what NRG's doing, which is prioritizing, just focusing on what they're doing and not really forcing mistakes, just waiting for them. But BDS are right, they're forcing mistakes. Everybody's trying to be BDS, everybody's trying to be as annoying as possible, everybody's trying to be as disruptive as possible, cut every rotation that they see and just be menaces because that's what BDS are doing. So everybody kind of just gravitates towards whatever the best team's doing, and I think it just happens that this style of BDS use is a style that exerts significantly more pressure. I even heard Garrett say this when he talked about BDS after playing them in scrims. He said that he thinks their style would do very well on LAN because it's very unpredictable and it's very aggressive, and on LAN more mistakes usually happen. So if you're out there forcing mistakes and the other team's more likely to make them, then you're gonna have a good time. Do I think NA plays too passive? I think in general yes. I think you know, there's always situations where there's an NA team being ultra aggressive, but if you look at the average NA team and the average NA player in RLCS Season X and the average EU team and the average EU player, yeah, the EU player is probably being more aggressive, probably making more low boost ball pressure plays, probably you know, challenging from behind instead of rotating away from the play more, probably cutting more rotations, probably just not going back for that big boost, instead sticking around in the play on low boost, just like more aggressive positioning instead of positioning more passively to prioritize boost. That's the main difference that I see. Like if an NA player is rotating out of offense and the mid boost isn't there but the back corner boost is there, the decent chance they're going to go all the way back for it. EU player, less likely. They're probably just going to turn around and grab a small pad and get stuck in, you know, get back into the play. So it's a more aggressive positional game. Playstyle difference between ME and EU. Well, yes, but I think that the difference between ME and EU playstyle is mostly to do with the server advantage. I mean, we've seen it in SMAD, we've seen it from other tournaments where Middle East plays against Europe, or Sam plays against America. If you can stay in offense, you're having a good time. As soon as you have to defend, it is really hard to defend when you're the away team. Like, you can't save shots. It's not possible. You know, if somebody just shoots a banger of a ground shot at your net from outside the box and you're on 100 ping, yeah, but by the time you know which way it's actually going, it's probably already in. So you actually can't defend a lot of shots when you have high ping that would be savable if you had low ping. So because of that, ME players who are playing on a EU server tend to be very, very attack focused, because that's where you can get the most success in the away server. And that means that defense is often lacking. But you know, some teams like German Amigos have had lots of success against Sandrock, and the reason for that is because their play style is actually very good on the ground. So if you want to beat teams that are playing on the away server against you, I think one of the good things to do, and I didn't tell this to my SMAD team, I just let them do their thing because they're an actual team and I didn't bother weighing in any opinions. But one thing that you could do that's actually really difficult for high ping teams to deal with is force 50-50s, because your team's going to see where the ball's actually going before the other team does, and you know, play for mind games and dribbles in the ground, because it's much harder to know if somebody's flicking the ball or faking if you're on high ping. And it's much harder to react to a 50-50 if you're on high ping. So that's actually what you really want to do if you want to beat high ping teams. Force 50-50s and just go for a lot of awkward looking ground plays that are hard to read. Not so much hitting the ball into the air, because as soon as you launch the ball up into the air, they can see it perfectly. Like, if that ball's just floating for free through the air, they know exactly where it is, because at that point their client can perfectly predict where the ball is. It's only when lots of different things are happening to the ball at one time that their client can't actually tell them where the ball is, and they have a disadvantage. Any advantages for high ping? No. This concept that, okay, there's this misconception going around, and I don't know why people would ever think this, but there's a lot of people, for some reason, in the Rocket League community that think playing with high ping can be an advantage. I know. People actually think this. So, not only that, there's also people who think that if you take a player who's always played the game on 100 ping and you put them on 0 ping, that they're going to have a hard time adapting. Because, oh no, now I can just see the game clearly. This is so hard. Must be really hard when you can just see the game clearly and you're not having to wait and see, did the 50-50 go that way? Oh no, it went this way. Oh no, it actually did go this way. No, oh wow. Yeah, it's so much nicer having to play with the ball pinging around like crazy. I talked to Lionblaze recently because he's moved to US East for this season, and he got rank 1 in every playlist 3 days after moving to US East. So he while he was moving and while he was going through the moving process, he didn't play Rocket League at all. So he took a couple of days off, maybe a week, I'm not sure what, but he took some time off. Then he played US East for 3 days, got rank 1 in every single game mode at the same time for the first time ever. And I asked him about this. I said, you know, was there like a period of adjusting? Did you need to take a day or two to get used to the low ping? He said, no. I instantly felt better from the first game. I instantly felt faster. Instantly was just beating people to the ball more, and I was just winning more. So I mean, it seems obvious, but I'm gonna tell you that I've actually asked just to get more evidence to support this this argument, because I don't even know what people are crazy out here. They're saying that Middle East players are going to need to adapt to LAN. Are you crazy? They're not going to need to adapt. They're just going to see the game clearly for the first time. They're going to be like, wow, these EU players that we were playing against online, they're actually all really slow. I thought these guys were faster because they look fast when we play them on their server, but now that we're playing them on LAN, they're actually like really slow. We're just beating them to the ball. What are they doing? That's what's probably going to happen. It could happen. They might just smoke everybody. I'll have to wait and see. I think honestly though, the mechanics, they're just going to be beating people to the ball. But yeah, or as far as like being an organized team and you know, being able to play under that pressure, that will definitely take time. You know, the pressure will be immense. And they don't have as much practice as a squad as some of these other teams do. Liam, thanks for the 5 month, and also Sid the God with the Prime. Welcome, guys.